hi and welcome for everyone who's viewing at the moment. We need a plan because we need a plan, which we have a plan now. This is our 11th session. I fucked up last session by saying it was the 9th session, so we actually missed our like double figures kind of. Oh, this is a really cool experience. It's my bad. But how are you guys doing? And my green screen's off, like misaligned as per usual. And I fixed it. It's amazing. You're all doing well?
I am okay.
Very well, thank you.
All good and well.
I really
Mr.
actually.
DM.
I'm doing well as well. Busy at work. And apologies for the delay. As always, it's my fault. But this is like really like work is really intense in January. But I'm glad to be back and running D&D now. I need to find a bottle opener, which I've just found. Hey, cat. And I should mute sounds, and this time it actually will be muted. That's a rare occurrence. But I mean, we're just going to jump right into it because we're already late. Almost an hour late, although we usually start about 10-15 minutes after the allotted time anyway. So, does anyone want to do a recap? Usually I've been doing it, but I'm going to throw it to you guys if you want to do it. That's a no from Harry. Harry's the most talkative of the bunch, so that's like a really reassuring sign. And I see a head shake from Sophie in the darkness of this. I see a head shake from Sean, and Elliot's head is turning from left to right. He's hidden his face while Snake's off camera. Well, fantastic.
It's not me. My tooth sparked.
yeah, that's true. I don't want to make
this lettuce.
Yeah. Well, in that case, it'll be me. We come from. Why is the music like dead? Oh, it's because that track has just got loads of nothing at the end. That's brilliant. There we go.
Nothing.
A load of nothing.
Sound of silence.
So last session, Christ, where were we? You guys had just sort of had a bit of an argument and was like coming back to town after looking for the trail, somewhat successfully, of Richter and receiving an invitation from Strahd. You made your way back to town, settling yourselves. Fucking hell. Okay, thanks, Cap. Yeah, that's really thrown me off. God damn it. Cat decided to just donate the rest of the 40 the goal for your microphone, Elliot. So thank you, Cat. That just blew. I was like, I'm about to go on this, and then boom. Thank you so much. Again, obviously, we'll respect that by continuing without getting distracted more than I already have. Thank you.
Thank you.
We left off with you guys, like I said, entering back into town and getting yourselves kind of prepped for the eventualities that are coming of what you actually wanted to do. And after sort of a lot of deliberation, a bit of disagreement, I mean, it was the party collectively, but Rhea really stepped up and kind of just like brought the outliers in a bit to decide like, we're going to do this. There may be some decisions to make later, but right now we need to work together, with the general gist being that some party members may be interested in going to actually meet Strahd. However, the party was also very much agreed that going west to the town of Krezk would be a relatively, like, it seemed like a relatively sure thing, as it's actually where Raine comes from, and he's got enough knowledge about it that again, this Abbey of Saint Markovia does seem to strike true with some of the suggestions that you've heard, these like card reading that you've received. However, you decided to spend your time in town, sort of looking around for or asking around and getting to meet one of the locals, a man called Rictavio. You've seen at the tavern a few times. He actually does appear to be a half-elf. And you've talked with him. Zadie went up and talked to him for a while, where, again, he introduced himself. He's a traveling entertainer, a director almost, looking for actors in his play. And he's also a tale teller. He's not a musician per se. He's more of a sort of an orator. And he told you a story about people who could turn themselves into ravens. Now he pointed you in the direction of a toy store in town, where, as you said, you were looking for a man with a monkey. So he pointed you in the direction of a man who had a monkey called Gadolf Blinksy, the owner of Blinksy's Toys. You went and spoke to Blinksy at length, and bought some toys and commissioned some others. But one thing became clear is that, or at least seemed to come clear, is that he didn't really understand what you're talking about, and either he was lying or he was telling the truth, and he was a convincing liar, or it seemed that he actually received the monkey, which again, part of this card reading you've received, was originally Rictavio's. Now you that's where we ended as you left the toy store and you started making your way back, I believe, to the Blue Water Inn. But it was as you stepped outside, and I believe this was still in the same day. So this is all happening. Am I wrong? This is where my memory becomes so messy. Yeah, this is the same day. It's coming into the evening around now. The store was closed, like was closest to closing.
I thought we'd
No, we had a day. This was straight after
You
breakfast.
had a day, so this is very in the morning. Excuse me. So this is in the morning. Thank you. My memory is like really bad in terms of timeline. So it's the morning time. It still is really morning as you just come in. Just left the store after being there for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. Because
I don't know if it's also worth mentioning that while we were in the toy store, we discovered that someone seemed to be commissioning toys that looked eerily like Irina.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you also found that out. Again, no names were exchanged. You kind of tried to scare Gadolf into sharing some more information about it, but he seemed, should we say, reluctant to reveal the information. His reasoning unclear, but reluctant to reveal information other than for clients, privacy or confidentiality. So yeah, as you left the store with a few toys in hand and another one commissioned for, in fact, was it 2 commissioned? Was it just Zadie's commissioning of her brother?
Yeah, I think that was the only one.
That was the only one that was commissioned.
Yeah,
there was
I bought one, and
and there was talk of a Guzza one, but it never materialized. So yeah.
That's the main character thing.
Yeah. So as you make your way out onto the sort of the dirt track leading north out of town, again the sun beaming high in the eastern sky. It's early morning. Maybe 8-9 a.m. And you have potential long day ahead of you. What would you like to do, guys? Where would you like to head next? At this point in time, I know we're currently on the inn's map as well. I'm aware I left you guys on there because I figured that's where you're headed back to, but I may be mistaken. Are you guys heading anywhere else?
We
No?
wanted to go and see Rictavio.
Yeah.
Okay, so you make your way back to the tavern. It's like I said, about 5 or 6 buildings away, so it takes you all of about 2 or 3 minutes to make your way back. And you sort of you step in the front door, looking around. Rictavio is nowhere to be seen. You see the table that he was sat at, the chair sort of still ajar from where he was sitting, but you don't note him anywhere. You note that the bartender appears to be a woman. Looks.
It's not Owen, is it?
It's not Owen. It looks to be similar to Owen, though. Not too similar, but a similar sort of look to her, similar sort of age. And she sort of sees you enter, and she just gives you a smile, but doesn't say anything. And there are a few locals in, but no one you recognise.
I'll go sit down.
Okay. The Gus gets up, walks over, and sits himself down at the table.
Yeah, I guess I'll join him.
Oh yeah, I'll also join.
This is the same beer that foams up everywhere. So you all go.
I'll follow.
Jesus Christ. This is not my day. Okay, so you all make your way inside and pitch yourself down at your standard table. And again, it's early morning. You've already eaten as well. And again, just sitting around the table. Anything you'd like to do?
That was a bit of a bust.
Well, I mean, you can't trust fortune tellers. You just can't. Like,
Though it is interesting that we stumble across someone who's ordering dolls that look like Irina.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we missed a man who is more than he appears.
Perhaps the man who's more than he appears is the one that gave us the information. He's gone after all. There's no reason for him to leave. I asked previously, and the tavern keeper said he'd been here for months, and now he's suddenly left.
I would be inclined to agree. I think it would be a bit too hasty to say that the fortune teller was wrong. I feel that perhaps we just got the wrong man. It was Rictavio all along, perhaps.
Maybe. Didn't he say he... If he's not here, didn't he say he hung around another part of Vallaki? I'm sure... out of character, I'm sure he did mention that we could find him in another part of town if we were
So,
looking for him.
He did mention to you that he does have a... excuse me, he doesn't necessarily stay anywhere else, but he does have a wagon in the stockyard to the eastern side of town, near where the coffin maker's house is. There's a stockyard kind of to the east of that. That's where wagons kind of... It's like a big turning circle, but there are also places where wagons are just kind of stowed, tied up a little bit to stop them from being like quickly stolen or anything. I mean, you haven't inquired anywhere as to like the cost or the purposes of it, but he did effectively say that he has a wagon over there to the east. Other than that, he didn't mention anywhere else in town besides obviously Gadolf's store.
Shall we head straight there then? No point in hanging around.
Might as well.
Alright.
Sure.
Okay, so you again, like having sat down quickly, just sort of to catch your thoughts, you get up and make your way across to the eastern side of town. Now this journey is not long, and as you trudge through the mud and you see people waking up, sort of starting about their days, you hear the sound of the smithy kind of firing up. Just the distant sort of tink tink of a hammer on metal. You make your way east through town, and you make it to the stockyard pretty quickly as well. Now, what you find is you find that it's relatively empty. However, you recognise an individual and you recognise a wagon, where you see a wagon that makes complete sense. A rather colourful, if faded, wagon with writing on the side, and I want to get the exact writing here. It says Rictavio's Carnival of Wonders on what looks like sort of doors that would open out almost on the side of the wagon. The sign's kind of split or slightly jarred at that point, and it's got a kind of a curved red roof. But you see Rictavio sort of leading a horse, sort of tying a horse up to the front of the wagon at this point in time. The other thing you notice is that on the front of the wagon and on the back of the wagon, actually, where there are doors to enter in, there's two small metal windows with bars, and on either side of the wagon there are chains crossed in an X, kind of bolted tightly to either side. But as he's hitching the horse, he hasn't noticed you at this point, and you're able to approach relatively nearby without any issue. However, he hasn't noticed you, so you're, I don't know, maybe 20 feet or so away. And he's sort of hitching the horse up quickly. Or hastily, shall I say.
Oh, Rictavio?
And sort of turns his head and glances across and goes, "Oh, fancy seeing you here. I'm actually looking to head off out of town. But it's been a pleasure. You may catch me around, I suppose." He gives you a smile, but you see him sort of like, whilst like, looking across at you, sort of tightening the reins from his horses sort of round onto the actual wagon itself.
So suddenly?
Yes. Well, a change of plans, shall we say?
See, come now, please. I believe we owe you a drink for the information. Why don't you come along with us, and we can all sit down and have a nice little discussion.
Give you a good send-off.
He smiles as well. You hardly know me, but
Well, I believe you do owe the tavern a tab. You've been staying there for quite some time.
I pay my bills in advance, actually.
Oh, did you? A man carrying that much coin around Barovia? That is quite something.
I was carrying that much money, but that's why I want to put on performance.
Without
You
your
find your actors
monkey?
then, sweetie?
No, this town's far too dry for that. Spent a good month or so here, but on to greener
Well, I have
pastures,
one
I
just here
suppose.
for you, perhaps. And I pull out the Strahd mannequin.
He looks and he chuckles and he goes, "Ah, you made some purchases, Blinksies. It's awfully kind of you."
I pull out my little doll.
He just sort of looks at you like you're literally deranged, like the collective of you all like playing with toys. And again, I'm assuming you don't have any sort of knowledge in wielding a mannequin, so you're effectively just holding it there.
Yeah, I'm just holding it there.
But he sort of looks across at you and goes, "Oh, that's fantastic. We're not doing a puppet show, actually. It's a grand tale, but of human actors, or, well, humanoid. But if you don't mind, I need to best be going." And as he's sort of saying that, you notice... In fact, go ahead. Who's not talking at this point? I'll say, okay, you two who put their hands up. Sorry, a little bit late on that.
All of
Harry.
us did.
Yeah, I know. I know. I noted it. I noted it from Sean and from Shosei, from Trundle and from Zadie. So if you could both give me perception checks as well. So I say 15 is pretty reasonable.
Oh my lord.
Trundle, there's like a smell that catches your nose of.
If it's a smell, I should have advantage.
Yeah, well, it catches you. I mean, 20. Don't worry, you guys have got this. It's fine. But for you catch like a smell. It's not quite. You can't quite place it. It's almost like a musty, like a stables almost that you catch. But it's like almost emanating slightly from this wagon. Zadie, you see, as he's sort of like hitching this horse up, you see the car like sort of lurch slightly, and you hear this sort of this almost faint, and it is faint, which is why you pick it up. Sound of like something like something scratching on wood. This wagon being made of wood, and again you notice it again. It kind of lurches ever so slightly. It's not moving. Like, it's not rolling, it is stationary, but you notice it kind of rocks slightly. And hear this kind of like low, almost growling coming from within. The rest of you are too preoccupied to notice anything. No, collectively I'd say, because it's a nat 20, you all sort of start to notice this one by one, but Zadie, you perceive it. Perhaps because of your blind sight, you kind of see the vibration of it shift more quickly than anyone else. But you notice this as he's hitching it up. He seems to be paying no mind to it as he hitches the horse up, and you see him kind of like walking around the wagon, making sure that everything's in place, making sure the wheels are in good nick.
Can I do a divine sense then if I'm feeling a bit funny about all this?
Mm-hmm. And again, remind it, it's behind full cover. You do not get any pings. So pinging here, you get 2 pings. You get 1 from Trundle, 1 from Zadie. That's all you get.
Cool. You're learning this bell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You don't get a ping off of him or anything. But he's sort of going around the cart and tying it up and binding it and whatnot, making sure everything's strapped in. Yes. But
we were actually looking to get out of town too. Do you want company? Because it's mighty unsafe on these roads.
I think I'll be okay. I'm not too much of a people person, although I suppose I am an actor. But that's more of a vocation.
Looking for other people to join their act.
It's a vocation. I enjoy acting, but I don't enjoy spending time per se with others. If you don't mind, I need to be on my way. And he sort of continues to move around the cart.
And where is it that you are going to? It isn't perhaps Krezk, because if so, we might be finding ourselves heading there sometime soon.
He sort of shakes his head slightly and goes, No, I will be heading west actually, but just see where the road takes me. Why? What is it? You seem to have come here in an awful hurry. What is it? You must have something to share, perhaps? He looks at you quizzically. No? Well then. that settles it, I suppose. And he starts to sort of climb up onto his horse So climb up onto the
No,
cart behind us.
I'm gonna be getting in the way of him doing that. But like in a like, oh, you need help? Blah blah blah. Like
He's like,
let me do
oh,
this.
it's perfectly fine. I mean, he's already kind of climbing up, but I'll say sure. You're able to
Yeah.
intercept him without being like,
Are there
wham,
any,
lamping
Are there
him.
any windows on the side of the wagon or anything like that? I want to circle around it. Like,
Not on the
I
side.
wanna-
On the front and the back, there are small kind of windows, maybe this
Yeah.
big. Bars, like little metal bars across the front of them. They're quite thick though, and the wooden door looks relatively sturdy.
okay,
You know, I used to travel around with my daddy quite a lot, and we never put chains that were bars on our wagon. What's up with that?
Well, it's for me to know and for you to ponder, I suppose. It's my
Can I
wagon.
be can I move around to the back and see if I can sort of climb up the back and peer in through the window?
Yeah, I mean, as he's been stopped, he sort of sees you and catches you and goes, no, please, no. As you start climbing up, go ahead and make a perception check again.
Me. Yep.
Okay, yeah, so it does take you by surprise. As you no, it's fine. As you step up on the back of the wagon, he's there to sort of able to catch you quick enough to sort of pull you back down a little bit. He goes, "Excuse me, if you don't mind, I wouldn't go climbing on other people's property." However, you do get the smell of like almost like straw, like hay, just emanating from the window slightly. Yes. Now, what is it you want? Spit it out. Come on. And he sort of turns
I'm
towards you.
looking to perhaps purchase some goods. What is it that you keep in
I'm
your
not a salesman.
caravan?
He looks at you.
So there must be something inside, no?
Yes, it is my props for my carnival. What do you expect a carnival man who runs a carnival would travel around with?
Maybe a monkey?
Looks at you like he goes, "No. That man over there, Gadolf, he's the one with the monkey."
Recent, I heard.
Yes, so I gave him a monkey.
Mm.
He was lonely. What? Come on.
No, I ain't saying that. It's fine. He seemed to like it quite a lot. However, we'd like to talk to you.
What about?
Well, we
you
don't
could
really
go about this in
know.
a slightly less. And he's like looks around as you're kind of from the back of the wagon where Rhea is round to kind of like the collective of you who've pulled in from the front a little bit. Kind of does this wide sweep. He's like, without this aggressive manner, perhaps.
Oh, we did invite
Well,
you
I
to
mean, we
play.
wouldn't need to be so aggressive if you weren't being so suspicious.
Point taken. Look, what do you want?
Well, one, what is making that noise up in there? And two, we've been asked to find a man with a monkey, and we think the first guy was the wrong one.
He sort of looks at you like squinting. He sort of puts it down and goes, "One, that's a story for another time. Two, why do you want to find a man with a monkey? You've already found one."
We ain't so sure.
Well, that's not exactly a very convincing answer. Not exactly looking to.
I ain't so convinced by it myself, but now I'm very interested in what's in the box.
What's in
He
the
just
box?
What's in the box?
he just eyes you, like sort of giving you like Forrest Whitaker eye. He's like, "Why do you want to find a man with a monkey?"
Kindness is a
Oh,
short
we
supply
were
around
told by
here.
some fortune teller that we should do that.
As you mention that, his sort of eyes narrow and he looks at you. And he kind of pauses for a moment. Goes, "A fortune teller? What, like a
Mm-hmm.
what, like a Taroka card reader?
Mm-hmm.
And you look to find a man with a monkey. Why?"
Mm-hmm.
An entertaining man with a monkey.
Which I
That puts a
should think you
smirk on
should
his
take as a
face slightly.
compliment.
Yeah, there's a slight smile that spreads across his face. Like, it's almost like he can't quite hide it.
Well,
But why are you looking for this man?
well, we were told that he might be of help to us in what we're trying to do.
What's that?
Get out.
What, of where?
Barovia. we ain't from here. We ain't been here long. We want to leave. And we've been told that pretty much the only way to do that is to murder a certain vampire. So, long-term goals.
He just stares. He stares at you for a moment.
I just want to sort of hang the mannequin by his neck a little bit. So I just...
Take my
I don't know
dagger.
if that would
like,
work, but maybe.
Make a performance check for the hanging, just for the hell of it.
Can I get
Can I-
advantage of Ray stabbing it as well?
Can I help? Yeah.
Fake
Oh, can I-
stabbing it.
I put
Sure.
the dagger in my little toy's
You
hand.
can both roll separately. There we go. You can both
Oh.
roll for it separately.
Oh,
Okay.
This is
well,
mainly just for like how
shit thinking goals.
well you managed to use it.
Oh, I'm not very good with it.
What
Good
kind of
job, guys. Good
Are you
job.
stabbing it with an actual dagger?
I'm playing. Yeah.
With a 6, yeah. Yeah, as you're sort of like holding it up and like doing this hanging, it kind of slips from your grasp slightly, and you have to sort of grab it by the wires where it kind of slumps forward. But you are able to sort of, show it with the strings hanging around it, wrapped around it slightly. Meanwhile, Ray, you do end up punching a couple of holes in it with your dagger. You do realise quickly and stop doing it, but there are kind of these small where the dagger kind of gets stuck in
Oh,
slightly.
he was looking so fresh when I bought him.
Yeah, it's kind of not too hard to see.
10 minutes
It's
ago.
it's kind of hard to see because it is black on black, on black fabric. But he kind of smirks slightly and just looks at you quizzically and goes, "You are rather persistent, aren't you?" And he sort
Oh
of-
yeah,
he-
we ain't got nothing better to do.
he smiles at that. He says, "Well, maybe I can change that." And he says, "Come with me." And he will kind of push past you, not like aggressively, more than just to get past you. And he will start to make his way kind of east, in between a couple of buildings that are relatively close together, into like a relatively narrow space. He's not rushing, but he is walking off on his own with you, with the intent of sort of leading you somewhere.
Yeah, follow.
He starts to make his
Kind
way.
of just checking that the wagon isn't going anywhere. Like,
No, the wagon is stationary. The horse that's tied to it is relatively, not docile, but I mean it seems to be well trained, and it's tied up. So as he sort of leads you between these two buildings that fan out, there's relatively few kind of angles in which you guys can be seen at this point. It kind of opens up slightly wider at one end, and he turns and kind of like looks at you all as he does this. He goes, "Something about you all. A prophecy isn't given to someone lightly, at least not in my knowledge." And he goes and reaches up to this kind of like hat that's like on the top of his head, and he'll take it off. And as he does, you see his form shift and change slightly. A man who was standing in front of you looks similar, but he looks older. His hair is kind of receded back, where the cap was covering effectively where all of his hair is no longer growing. He looks to be probably, for a half elf, in his in the latter half of his second century. He's looking relatively old, and as he sort of leans on the cane slightly, you can see that he's showing his age. But from the colourful garb that he was wearing, it sort of fizzles away and leaves this brown, this trench coat almost, a pair of spectacles similar to the ones he was wearing, but less colourful, more just for function, with a couple of extra eye lenses or monoculars for range finding. And you see hanging off his side what looks like a crossbow, and he just looks at you and goes, "You won't have heard of me, but my name is Rudolph Van Richten. And it seems our goals are somewhat aligned."
More than what you appear to be.
"Yes, bravo. That is what it would appear that you've been told. But to get, what is your name again?" He kind of points across to you, Rhea.
Rhea.
Oh, right. I remember Zadie. Not so much the rest. No offense. Mine's not what it used to be. But you say you're here to get out. Why are you here in the first place?
oh, we just stumbled on in here. We were told to help out a town with a werewolf problem, and then we walked into a mist, and then there was a house that tried to kill us, and we got possessed briefly, and then there was a crying lady, and a dead baby, and a missing girl, and
He kind of cuts you
then
off.
Arena.
He kind of cuts you off and goes, "That sounds like a pretty
Gambling thingy. money and
Pretty rough time, yes. Well,
Well, I had eyes and he had a mouth before we got here, so.
you see him kind of weighing this over and goes, it's rather unfortunate. Well, look, you wish to destroy Strahd. Well,
I cover the mannequin's ears as he says that. Shh! He can hear you.
he looks at you. He looks at you as you say that, and he actually he says to you quite plainly, he probably is watching you. You do know that.
Oh, I know.
Oh yeah, we figured. Yeah. He invited us for dinner. We're not gonna go.
He looks at you like rather quizzically. I would be careful. Wouldn't say don't go. But and he kind of puts his hat back on, and you see the sort of the shimmer of the clothes reappearing and the kind of lines in his face being pulled out ever so slightly. He still looks, like a half elf, maybe in his his early hundreds, but it takes about 40-50 years off of him. And he looks across at you and just says, "Well, I'd be very careful if I were you. If you want to go visit him, but I wouldn't recommend it. Like you said, it's most likely a one-way ticket. Still, something about you. So you had this reading. Who's it from? I've known a few people in my time who have the gift, or so they say."
Madam
Eva.
Eva, yes.
He nods and goes,
On the road from the town of Barovia. We ran into her
and she,
in the campsite.
yes, she's undeniably powerful. Wouldn't trust her either. She hangs around with those folk. Fucking Vistani.
Well, they're good fun.
He just looks at you and kind of glares for a brief moment. Whatever you may think about them, your
Good fun till you wake up next morning with your pockets empty.
pockets empty or your throat slit. Yes, there. Wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them. And well,
They treated us quite hospitably, so
you were lulled in.
don't know any better.
He nods and says, "Yes, you were lulled in, most likely. Gave you a nice place to stay, a drink by a fire, tall tales spun. Yes, that's what they do. And then they kidnap you. They kidnap people you know. They kill them. They take them to their masters. You think those folk are working alone or have no care in the world? Trust me when I say they've got their fingers in all of the pies and those ones by the river. They're I have no doubt in saying that they're in league with Strahd. And the ones just out of town here, well, you'd say the same about them.
If they're in league with Strahd, then why would she give us these fortunes to point us in the direction of getting rid of him?
He squints and says, "I don't know. She's perhaps beholden to the gift more than she is to him, but I also have a reason to believe that she's not one of them per se. I don't know quite what it is. I don't know. She's got a certain je ne sais quoi, doesn't dress like them, and, well, maybe she does tell them what to do. And I have no doubt that she's got some line of communication with that beast, but... well, I suppose there is no reason you should trust her, but it's not her you were speaking to, most likely. It was the fates above.
She led us to you, so...
Quite. Her reasoning for doing so is beyond my comprehension. Now, you're here against your will. You want to leave, and by extension, you want to destroy that monster.
Nicely.
He just looks across at all of you. Well,
An appropriate summary.
it seems like you're going about it the wrong way. You made it pretty apparent what you were looking for. I could overhear you most nights in the tavern, but... well, thankfully, Apologies, I thought there was some music playing around me in real life. Well, you aren't subtle. Let's put it like that. You need to brush up on your, shall we say, subterfuge, or diplomacy. Maybe visiting that Strahd would do you some good, if not knock a little sense into you.
That's why I did want to talk mostly at the church.
He shrugs and says, "That's not a bad idea, actually. Not exactly a holy man, though. And, gods be known, it's, well, I'm far from, welcome from them. Although I suppose the Morning Lord and I, have similar sort of feelings about vampires. Oh, do you want to go talk at the church, then?
Sure.
Well, let me take Priscilla back here." And he sort of gestures towards the horse, which, again, you're not far from the cart. He says, "I need to go take her back to the stables, but she's,
What? Before you do, are you going to tell us what you got in there?
Oh, in the cart? All I would say is keep your fingers away from the, grates. It's, shall we say, an animal that hates the Vistani almost as much as I do. It's trained, but not too well trained, so I'd, be very careful. You might get to see it in the future, don't worry. As long as you're not one of them, I don't think you'll have any trouble around it. As long as you're not keeping meat in your pockets."
I want to look at it even more.
He smiles slightly and says, "Well, but like this, it would be relatively at home in a carnival. This whole charade is not, not held up solely by my own capabilities. Though they do help. Now, shall we?" And he gestures towards the kind of heading west.
Sure.
Let us.
Very good. And he goes and sort of unhitches the horse, sort of, feeds it a couple of sugar cubes, and then he pulls out an apple as well and sort of gives it to the horse. And you sort of travel back across town. He goes to the back side of the Blue Water Inn, to expedite things slightly, contacts Owen to go open the back, which is usually padlocked. And he just leads his horse into this barn at the back of the tavern, which there's no other animals in there, but he leads it to a stall that seems to be kind of freshly kept. The hay in it sort of looks fresh, and the horse immediately sort of goes back there almost by instinct, and he bolts it back in and then continues on with you to the church. And as you arrive at the church again, there's a few people in there. It's relatively early in the day. Again, not much time has passed, maybe half an hour since leaving the tavern for the first time, or sorry, for the second time. And as he leads you up the stairs, says, "Well, so what are your plans then? So you're looking to go to Krezk? And apologies for the swift exit. You don't know who you can trust around here, but something about Taroka readings I can't quite place, but they hold more truth than perhaps I'm willing to admit."
But yes, Krezk was the plan. Some of us were a bit skeptical about the card readings up until very recently, but we thought that it would be a good idea to look at some of the churches here. I mean, you had the bones of Saint Andral here that give some power to this place. We thought that they might be useful for helping us.
He sort of
So we thought we'd go to the abbey in Krezk.
He sort of looks at you. Well, depends what you're looking for, I suppose, but yes, the abbey is a strange place. I've never been there myself. I've only been here for a couple of months and largely stuck around here. There's the tower to the west of here. That's where I held up for a while. It's a rather weird place, but not many people go there, so if you're looking for a place to lie low, I suppose I could recommend that. No one visited me whilst I was there anyway.
Sort of tower.
Some old mage's tower. Got all sorts of weird secrets, and be careful when you're opening the front door. There's some symbols and look, it's a long explanation. I could just when you see the sign, it looks like a clock, and there's shapes like this. Just you need to pose like that. It's honestly not that difficult, but it fools a lot of people, it seems.
What happens if you don't pose like that?
You know what? I don't know, and I don't quite want to find out. But it's an old wizard's tower. These protections are there for the protection of whatever it is that was kept there before they vacated the place. Look, I don't. There's nothing of that great interest within, not to my knowledge. I poked around for a little while, but I was usually just using it to hole up and do a bit of research about this place and about that vile creature that runs it. So, plan to head to Krezk? To this abbey?
I hope all of you are more convinced now that you found a man who's sort of going to quiet down, not what he appears to be.
He smiles slightly.
If you're all convinced, I believe there's an abbey that's your calling.
I think so.
Ye of little faith. I just sort of sit there very smugly. I'm feeling good about this.
Well, we don't know it's that abbey. We were just told a church with the name of a saint, and we've already met 3.
But it's a place to start.
Absolutely. And I wanted to tie up some loose ends before we left. This being one.
Mm-hmm.
He nods. Well, if you're looking for places with names of saints, yes, you've only got 2 that I can think of. We're in one of them, so whatever it is you're looking for, if you haven't found it here.
What's the other one you can think of?
The Abbey, the place you've just been talking about.
What about the one in Barovia?
There's no name of a saint. It is to the
Is it
Morning
not?
Lord. The Morning Lord isn't a saint, he's a god.
I thought you said it was a saint. Out of game, I thought you said it was a saint name.
Unnamed church.
Oh, yeah,
I
is that
swear
named-
it's been
is that
called a
named
saint
church?
name.
It's the church of the town of Barovia, village of Barovia.
Okay.
There's no name to it. There's Father Donovich is the guy who runs it. He's
That's
the,
why we've had this discussion where we've identified the 3.
there's 3 churches that you found or know
Yeah.
of, only 2 of which have saint names. And if not out of character confirming this, in character, yeah, there's only 2 places that I can think of. And like I said, we're in one of them, and the other one is indeed the Abbey. Strange things I've heard about it, but I'm afraid I don't know too much. It's not been my focus has been elsewhere. But I will kill that Strahd.
Where has your focus been?
On Strahd, that monster, he's running this place into the ground, and well, he seems to be active now for the first time since I've been here.
He seems to be after a friend of ours.
Oh yes.
Who I can assume is here and just being quiet.
But yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you want me to have a conversation with myself, he goes, "Oh yes."
Yeah, go.
Arena just sort of
And I'll gesture to Irina.
yeah, she
who's...
steps forward and says, "It's all about me." No, she just says, "Yes, he seems to have found his affections here, but I know not why. And he has been fairly inactive lately. At least he took my brother. He killed their friends. And well, and because I was going to say Rictavia, but Van Richten sort of looks at her and nods and says, he seems to do that, obsess about people for a while, toy with them, break them, and at least to my knowledge, just turn them into vampires, more of them. None so powerful as he, but into
Can I
those...
ask you a question? Do you know anything about Strahd's history or just his activities these days?
Nothing more than I imagine you'd already know if you're here and have been trying to deal with him, but, well, what I will say is he's incredibly fucking powerful. you try and take him head on, you're gonna have no chance. Even if I stand by you, it's not going to be a fair fight. It will be in his favor, regardless. He came here long ago. Like, this is all from the books, but I mean, the books are all. But books are supposed to be written by the victors. These just hearsay. Supposedly came here a long time ago, before it was bound by this circle of death, and well, he was a soldier, a leader, a general. By all accounts, not a bad man. Just a general, a person who thrived in a situation of war, and he was bloody good at it as well. I don't know why he came here to Barovia, as it was then, or at least it was called something else, but time's forgotten its name. He conquered the lands. The Vistani are in his debt, or he's in the Vistani's debt, or maybe both, I'm not quite sure. And well, it all stems from this jilted love, shall we say. His heart was broken, and so he came back a broken man. Or not a man, a beast.
Who broke his heart?
A woman, of course. You see him sort of like thinking for a while. I can't remember her name, but yes, he was in love. But his brother caught the eye of his desires, and so she was betrothed to him. At least that's how the story goes.
What? Tatiana?
That's the one. He smiles. Yes, Tatiana.
Fuck me!
And
Fuck me! Oh god, I looked over at Arena. Oh!
yeah, her eyes, she's just kind of staring. Yes, that's the one. His desire for her was great, and his love for his brother was great also, but he was a desperate man, and love makes even sane men do desperate things. So, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but the story is he killed his brother, and in this moment of anger, of lust, of envy, he turned into what you see now, this toothy monstrosity. And, well, his people turned against him for a while, but he made them bend the knee, and he's been doing the same ever since. He's not always active and hunting for people. There's reason to believe he spends years at a time somewhere in his castle, sleeping, hibernating almost, waiting for. He just sort of looks and gestures at you. People like yourselves, people to enjoy, to play with. So I can't give you more than that. Would if I could. You seem like earnest enough people, or at least people who have a disliking for that monster.
The playing with people. The toying with them.
What about it?
Does that involve not letting them die?
He shrugged slightly. I suppose it would, yes. Well, I mean, I'm not quite sure exactly, but yes, they when you hunger for centuries as he has, I have no doubt that your mind, he doesn't have the mind of a rational being. He may be bound by his own laws, but the laws set upon him by this land itself, but well, he is the lord of this place, and I can't help but believe that It would only hold him for so long. If my calculations are correct, he's been here for over 400 years. Repeating this cycle of looking for someone, finding them to be inadequate maybe, finding them to be not Tatiana. But
A lonely life.
he looks at you for the first time in a while, and you get the sense, like, it's weird, right? You're able to telepathically communicate. You get the sense as you try and telepathically communicate with him that there's like, it gets through, but there's almost like a slight filter. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it better than that, but it's like you're pouring a glass of water into another glass, but through a sieve. Like, it's going through fully, but there's like a slight bit of distortion almost as you send it to him. As he looks at you, he goes, "Yes, I suppose so. Here's this whole land to rule over. It sickens me, really, these poor people. Stuck here, unable to leave, besides those fucking travellers. The Vistani, they can leave whenever they want. It's part of their deal with him, I suppose." Oh, and if
that explains why they seem happier.
Yes, I suppose
I
so.
always wonder why they seem so happy and carefree considering the
And
situation.
if they offer you passage out of here through whatever means, don't fucking take it. They might offer you a potion that lets you pass through the mists unabated. Just don't do it.
Talk from experience.
No. I can just read people pretty well.
I'm going to take the biting lock out of my pack.
Mm-hmm.
One of them gave me this.
He sort of looks at it. What is it? It looks like a padlock to me.
It's a padlock that bites you.
He looks at you curiously. Well, whatever takes your fancy, I suppose. What to expect that they might have planted it with something.
I don't know.
Well, unless they have any, how do I put this? Pieces of you. Hair. Fingernails. I don't know. That's flesh. Then, he wouldn't have the easiest time peering in on you. But, well, if he does... sorry, but, he's probably watching this very conversation.
Even in here?
I suppose that's a fair point. What is this protected? Explain why you wanted us to come to the church. Sorry, my beer is leaking everywhere, as per the last one.
You're just getting intimate with
I'm
it.
getting
I
really,
imagine
really
him
passionate.
constantly opening the bottles of beer as we're talking at the church.
Why not? It's now canon that he is an alcoholic.
I don't blame him.
That's what most of the characters, I think.
Yeah, as it happens, yeah. But you, and he looks at you, Guzza. You've been awfully quiet. What's your deal? You're trusting, friend. Remember, it was you that came and found me.
Sir, I have given words, both written and verbal, since spoken, forgive me, and
I know what you meant.
I ain't found nothing but miscommunication, peers, and deception. I'll speak when it's right. Right now ain't right.
You see him, like, shrug for a while. Yeah, fair enough. To each their own. And don't take this as a judgment of yourself. My dealings with half-orcs have usually been a bit more brusque. Usually more quick to action. And, he smiles slightly, I guess. Don't worry, I don't mean to be too judgmental. I've had many experiences with many of your peoples. Not yours, and he looks at you, Rhea, but... And not yours, and he looks at you, Zadie. But... Not the rest of you. Look, if you don't mind me asking, what's your plan besides heading there? What then? Is this all part of your reading?
We have a few to follow. this was the one that was most closely connected to a church, so we thought it was the best sign to follow first, given what we already knew. But then we ran into you, and you were right there. So
I didn't have a monkey though.
no,
Not
but you
anymore.
led us right to a
But
man
you
with a-
did.
I
You
did, yes. It's an
We
odd
didn't
one
get
for
the
sure.
reading. You sold Monkey like a month ago, you said?
I gave the monkey away a few weeks ago. I do go and visit from time and again. Piccolo is an
But we
adorable
only got
creature.
the reading. We only got the reading like a few days ago, so she wasn't completely right.
I did have a monkey. So, what else did this reading tell you? If you don't mind me asking. It brought you to me.
Sure. So apparently it ain't in order. I didn't actually see the cards because with the face. We were told that there'd be a treasure behind the sun in the house of a saint, which we looked here and we looked behind the sun, but there weren't anything.
Did you try the outside wall?
We did do that.
Right, okay. Well, these things can be tricky, you know. After all, I didn't have the monkey, but not when you found me anyway.
And then we were told that we'd find something behind a set of amber doors, but we ain't seen any of those.
Doesn't mean much to me, I'm afraid. Although, amber doors. What is it you're looking for? What is it you'll find?
We don't know. It was like, we'll find what we're looking for in a bunch of treasure behind some doors.
Sounds suitably cryptic, I suppose. That is...
Mm-hmm.
Prophecies can never be, how do I put it? Straightforward. Be too easy to be someone if all the card readings just said, you'll find this here. You went there and you found it.
Well, we didn't know what we'd find when we come across someone like you. Apparently, it's an unexpected ally.
Wouldn't call us allies just yet, friend, but friends. Acquaintances, maybe.
Shared interest.
Yes, unfortunately for you.
We were also told about den of wolves in a mountain lake, and there'd be like a sword or something there.
You see him think for a while. Doesn't ring much to me, but carry on.
And then there was a fallen house guarded by a stone dragon or something. Some kind of a stone dragon. I don't know, but I think someone mentioned that they might know where that is, right? Raine mentioned that.
She sort of says, well, it was not me that mentioned it, but Soldar did say his, and as she's about to say, she starts to say Argin, and is sort of finished. The sentence is finished by Van Richten. And she goes, Argin was told. Yes, I've not been, but I know where it is. It's not far from here, actually. What is it you're expecting to find there, besides an abandoned castle?
Well, there's no way for us to know, I suppose. We'll find whatever we find. Same goes for you.
I think that one was particularly vague. It was that we'd find something intangible, and given that all the others don't say what we'll find anyway, it's double.
He smacks on it. That is a fair point. Well, carry on. You got this House of a Saint, this Den of Wolves, this Stone
Doors.
Dragon, Turka readings, and me.
And you. And that's 5, and that was it.
That's 4.
No, Amber Doors as well.
Ah, of course, yes. Sorry. Mine's getting rather... not as quite as sharp as it used to be, but still got a mean shot. Sort of pats the crossbow that hangs, sort of,
You're
you
not
can't
the
see
only
it.
one.
It's
I
actually...
point over to Raine.
What's that?
I think you're not the only one, and I point over to Raine.
He sort of glances at you curiously. What is that? Gestures towards the holster on your hip. Is it kept?
Curious device. Yeah, it's kept on my hip.
Yeah.
Sort of like underneath my clothes, Western style. But you know, it's kind of there.
Yeah.
An interesting device. Does almost pretty much the same as yours do, but perhaps with a little bit more flair.
He smiles slightly, like just a slight side smile. Well, as long as it kills vampires.
Oh, I'm definitely sure it will. What's the time exactly right now?
It's closing in. Like, it's still morning. Again, it hasn't been that long. You've just been talking and moving. So I mean, it's like 10:30, 11 a.m.
Okay. If we need to find you, will we find you at the tower? You say?
Well, seeing as you're the only ones who are looking into me, I think I can stick around town for a little longer.
We don't know how long our business in Krezk will take. So should you not be here, would we find you at the tower?
If you don't find me at the tavern, look to the tower. If you don't find me at the tower, good luck. I don't plan on announcing myself anywhere else, so if you don't mind keeping it a little bit quiet. Don't think Strahd knows I'm here yet. But
As far as I'm concerned, I don't even know you.
you do know me. I'm Rictavio. He
Of
sort
course.
of
Entertainer.
The man who sold his monkey to Blinksy.
and he waves his hand like this, and as he brings his hand up, you realise he's got a pack of cards in his hand. He sort of just arcs them from one hand to another. Like, just seems to be playing cards, but based on the sheer size and number, he sort of just like, fiddles with them a little bit and then slides them away in a side pocket again. And that is how you'll continue to know me. But in all seriousness, I'll be at the tavern, and I'll look into these amber doors. Don't quite know what to expect, but I have a few ways of gaining a bit of information around here. Carry a bit of favour, maybe. Best of luck to you in Krezk.
Can I ask you a favour if you're going to be hanging around Balaki for a while?
He nods. Depends on the favour, but...
I hope it's not too problematic. Well, we did find something interesting at our friend Blinksy's shop. Apparently, someone is commissioning dolls that look remarkably like our friend here, and I'll gesture to Irina again.
Again, he looks curiously. I'll look into it, but...
Yes, we thought, given his interest in her, it was curious and worth investigating.
It's a fair point, I suppose.
He wouldn't
Yeah.
give us the name of the patron. We didn't want to push him too far. He seemed like a decent sort of guy.
I don't intend to spook him. He's a warm soul, that one, as lonely as he is. I'll see what I can do. But
Thank you.
your nods.
Another thing, you've been here a month, you say? Like a few weeks?
I have.
Well, we found a house full of vampires when we were here.
His eyes light up. Where?
The coffin maker. He'd taken the bones that were protecting the church, and then his attic was just full of vampires. But it all went a bit south, and then there were crow people before we could really work out who was doing what and why. We don't know if they're still there. Every time we get near the coffin makers, things do not go well.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Yeah.
Well, you say crow people. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the first time you've mentioned those, or asked for a story to be told about them.
Mm-mm.
Yes, there seems to be, don't quite know how to put it, but some sort of a resistance. Unlike these werewolves that I've heard rumblings about. There's some other lycanthropes, but they They take the form of crows, and they don't seem to be menacing beings. I don't know too much about them, but I would suggest you keep your mouth quiet about them as well, lest Strahd finds out about them. I think they're actually looking after the people here, but that's all I know. They've not caused any trouble, and you say they are accosted vampires on your behalf?
Mm-hmm.
I'd hardly call that an enemy. I'll let you know if I find out anything else, but I don't know. They're good at hiding themselves, and I'm used to tracking vampires, so...
Well, coffin maker.
Does seem oddly fitting, doesn't it? Well...
He stole the bones from the church. Apparently on someone's orders.
But you've returned them,
Mm-hmm.
and
We got that far before the vampires attacked us, and then I just legged it straight for the church.
probably a smart move. No offense, but even as well-equipped as you are, I wouldn't be surprised if vampires of any nature made short work of you. Don't take it personally, of course. You must understand these things are relentless and have particular resilience to, being bashed in the head, and you kind of just gestures to the general various weapons and scythes that you guys wield collectively. Weapons and scythes. I don't know why specifically scythes were thinking out. But he gestures to them and says, well, I would be careful wherever you go, and take special care of travelling at night.
Yeah, well,
That too.
So, to Krezk, you say?
Mm-hmm.
yes.
The pleasure's been mine. And I will stick around in town for a while. Find me at the Blue Water Inn if you need anything specific. I'm there most of the day if I'm not out looking for something. And like we agreed, if you can't find me there, have a look at the old mage tower by the Lake Baratok.
I'm sure we will. To meet again, Rictavio.
He nods and sort of extends a hand out to
Yeah, I grasp his hand, just firm handshake.
it does the rounds with
I'll when I shake his hand, I'd like to say until then. And is it still all weird and crackly and doesn't feel right when I speak
It's
to
not
him?
like it doesn't feel right. It feels like there's almost a very slight filter or so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to explain more than that. But yeah, he just sort of leans in and goes, and to you, well, if you don't mind, I'll be heading off. And he sort of nods, and you see his steps sort of quicken, albeit he has the cane with him as he makes his way out the front door of the church and sort of starts making his way down the stairs. Father Lucian is in the area, but he's still again with other people. He kind of like lets you come and go as you please, really, without accosting you unless you sort of seem to approach him. And Rudolf van Richten, formerly known as Rictavio, sort of departs from the church, makes his way down the stairs. And I think, although we started late, I think now is a reasonable time for a quick break, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that works perfectly for me.
Yes.
Cool. And as he departs, you will contemplate where you want to head now. Probably to Krezk. So we'll take.
I think so.
That time.
So it is currently 9:05 or 9:06. We'll start back in 10 minutes, and I mean like start back going again because I need to get pee as well. So I'm gonna go do that. These guys are gonna do whatever they need to go do, grab a drink, etc. And we'll be back in 10 minutes. So be right back and. Thank you, Kat, as well. Again, thank you. Really
Yes,
appreciate
my
it.
God, thank you
That's
so
far too
Have we
kind.
got that Twitch
Yeah.
clip?
Crazy.
Yeah, my Twitch of like, just my clip of just like phasing out as I'm like, What? Anyway, we'll catch you guys in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Peace. Oh, wrong one. There we go. And we're back. Thank you, Freddie, for another fucking tier 3 sub again. Like, because you're a crazy man. And thank you for the 9 months. But I got it. The next notification that plays will be noisy as well because this thing's fucked. But we're gonna jump right back into it. Seeing as we're back. You guys all ready? All ready to go? So, as you stand in the church, having seen Rudolf van Richten depart and make his way back to the tavern, what would you like to do?
I mean, I got all my stuff already, so I guess we just say bye to the father and then head off.
Yeah, sure, that's cool. Don't mind. Yeah, fine.
If we need to, we can come back. We have to.
Yeah, we can. We can come back. Yeah, sure.
Tavio at some point, but for now, Krezk, I think.
Yeah, sure. Fine.
You're right here, Harry.
Sorry.
Got something in your throat, Gaza.
Krezk does sound like an excellent idea, doesn't it, Gaza? Shall we go?
A bit earlier than expected, but okay.
So you again to expedite it slightly. You speak to the father. Is there anything specific, or just more of like a catch up? Like, hey, how you doing? What's up? Where you going? That kind of thing.
Yeah, we're off. We might be back. Bye. See you later.
Cool.
Thank you
We will.
for letting us stay here. You've been great. We've been great. Bye.
He's like, cool. All right, see you later. Peace, nerds. And he'll see you later. No, he's obviously very careful. He says, you're welcome back at any time, and do let me know how it goes. I don't wish to hear about the violence, but to have something to inspire these people with some hope. That would be. Well, you've already done so much. Anything else would be just. It would go a long way to instilling people of this place with a belief that things can get better. Thank you. And he sort of sees you all off. He blesses you, but not literally with a spell or anything. He just sort of gives you praise to the Morning Lords. Not all will be well. He doesn't give a shit about the ramblings of the Burgomaster. And you will make your way out of the church, heading west towards Krezk. You're heading on foot, so as you're aware, in fact, I have moved you to the town of Valaki. We'll move you back to the world map that you totally can't actually see in character. However, with Raine in your party, who comes from Krezk, it is not a difficult sort of journey to navigate, and it's not that far. In terms of distance, it's about 4 hours away, 3 or 4 hours away, and it's not even midday yet. It's maybe 11 a.m. And as you start to make your way across the landscape, after about 15 minutes or so, you hit a bridge. Again, it reminds you of the bridge near the waterfall in terms of the way it's built. It's a similar sort of scale. However, it's not next to a big raging waterfall and seems to be slightly structurally less, sturdy. But it still is made of stone and is well built. And as you cross over, you hit a crossroads where, although the signposting there has been broken off and you can't see the head of it lying anywhere, Raine, you know that you could head either of the western paths, but the southwestern path is the more well-trodden one, the one that would sort of lead.
Yeah, we'll take I'll suggest the southwestern path.
Yeah, the other one's more of like a woodland kind of through the woods kind of route. In terms of how kind of wide the pathway is and how well made it is, and again, your journey throughout the day continues. It nothing strikes you. You don't get ambushed, shall we say, or nothing jumps out at you. No people are met on the path either. You just journey westward, somewhat quietly, without much conversation taking place. Irina's silent, and the rest of you trudge on towards Krezk. You pass a few roads that head off and tend towards the left, as well as one sort of dirt path leading off to the right that not from having really travelled it yourself, Raine, leads to the tower by the lake. And as you cross the second bridge that you come across, about 3 hours later at this point, you can actually see off in the distance to the west, where the water kind of runs on out to this mountain lake. Effectively, you see in the distance this small little pin in the sky that that it's not too far away, and you can make out some very faint details. But you can notice the tower just out, almost in the center, or not the center, but out, launched into the water of this lake, sort of standing on its own. No trees, just the hills and mountains rising up behind it. And again, you just keep traveling west, the mists curling in from the trees, but nothing.
Quick question. Ian, is it more than 60 feet away?
Yeah, you can't see shit.
Can someone tell me it's there?
I would probably point it out. Yeah.
Thank you.
That you can't.
There's a really cool tower over there. Yeah.
Lady,
Maybe that was the thing he was talking about.
I still don't trust him, even if he does appear to be something that he isn't.
Cold.
He's been one of the most forthright people we've come across.
Doesn't change anything. Pays to be on your toes.
That is
Always.
It is entirely true. So, excuse me. Where the fuck? There we go. So, as you sort of journey westward again, this is a familiar path for you, Raine. Although you didn't travel east too often and spend a lot of your time in and around the village, you still know this path. At least you've travelled it at least half a dozen times in your life, and relatively recently as well, heading the opposite direction. As you journey along here, it kind of you will see, and I'll describe this from the perspective of someone who hasn't seen a town before. The road kind of branches north, and it kind of climbs up and up and up, winding as it goes up this rocky escarpment, ending at a large gatehouse built into a 20-foot high wall that kind of just extends east and west. And you can see as it curves northward on the eastern side, and on the western side it takes longer to kind of curve around in a more kind of arcing, not quite circle or oval, but it is kind of curving around. There's buttresses every 50.
On the way, I would have dropped the Strahd mannequin at some point. Just not anywhere in particular. I just would have just dropped it on the floor and just kept walking. If anyone noticed, they can do whatever they want with it. But I just leave it behind.
Sure. I mean, you guys would have taken occasional breaks along here. I mean, like not long breaks, but you're not traveling for 4 hours straight without stopping whatsoever. Is anyone? I would say, is anyone like actively looking for that kind of thing? I mean, not for like, weird behaviour. But... No, that's all right.
Another question though.
By all means, go for it.
The wolf whistle that I noticed is magic. I think since discovering it, has there been a time to like learn more about it? I don't know how long an attunement takes.
So it doesn't require attunement, but it's a weird one. Like none of you have identify, I don't believe.
Not to my knowledge.
Hold on, I think I could have identify.
Yeah, as a clear. Yeah,
I really wanted it.
If
I ever bothered to change the spells that I prepared.
I know, it's such a classic thing. It's like, oh, I have like 20 spells. I'll just stick with them.
And that's one.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you. I need to actually note down exactly how it functions. But effectively, what was the name you'd given it? By like Breath of Yevgeny or something like that, right?
Breath of Yevgeny.
Yeah, I just love the name. So why not? Fuck it, we're gonna stick with the name. Effectively, this whistle has 3 charges, and you can use the charges to cast. It's 1 charge per cast.
I am wrong. I can't.
You can't. I think
it's bards and wizards. I think,
and I think it's a forge cleric thing that they get to pick identify if you're in the forge side of things. But you're able to cast. I believe it's animal friendship with the whistle. As an action, obviously, I will give you a full write up on this, but effectively, you're able to cast animal friendship with the whistle, and creatures that are of wolfen nature have disadvantage on the save.
Right. Oh, you get to become friendly with wolves.
I've become friendly with wolves.
Because I love this.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, I will write that down somewhere. Is it short rest?
Long it's like a dawn recovery, so effectively long rest. And on top of that, as with anything with charges, well, not anything, but almost anything with charges, if you use the last charge, you have to roll a d20. On a 1, it will dissipate. On any other roll, you're fine. So effectively, it has that effect. But yeah, so You have this. You have the breath of Yevgeny. I love that. Like, I don't know where it came from, but fuck it, it sounds awesome. So yeah, I would say, because although it's not an attunement thing, so you don't need to be attuned to it. You blow the whistle. It's silent, but it does cost an action to use, and it will cast animal friendship on any wolf within the range of the casting the spell, which I think is 30 feet. So you need to be relatively close.
I'm good, right? With that.
It kind of
I'm here, Fred.
like causes you to like twitch out slightly. You can hear this like faint piercing sound, but yeah, you're smart enough, even with your intelligence of like 8 or 10. You're smart enough. In fact, did you higher than that? I can't remember. Either way, yeah, I know that the party is not a smart party, but effectively,
8.
it only affects beasts of intelligence of 3 or less. Anything with 4 or higher is unaffected by the spell. So the idea is that it's quite limited in its scope, but in this case, it specifically works well against lichens. Like wolves, not lichens, because werewolves will generally be smarter than 4 intelligence or 3 intelligence.
Great. No, I'm grateful for it. I will write this down somewhere. Thank you, Mr. Dear.
That's all right. So as you arrive arrive near this wall, sort of just starting to wind your way up the pathway, you can tell that it kind of it's enclosed. This village, this town is enclosed. These towers, because of their position or high up on the hill, kind of jut up somewhat, and the actual hilltop behind it kind of rises up and up and up, has like a dusting of snow. But what you distinctly notice collectively is that the wall encompasses most of the town, but where the hill is simply so steep that building a wall would be almost pointless. Sitting atop the eastern edge of town is another kind of walled off area. What you can imagine is the Abbey, and for you, Raine, you are aware that is the Abbey. Yeah. But you are kind of winding your way up the pathway towards this closed gate, and you hear this faint chime. There's sort of this doom, 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 coming from the top of the hilltop where the Abbey is. Just a faint kind of bell just ringing. It kind of fades in as you approach closer and closer. It's almost inviting in a way, from the stark silence of this land for the most part. Having a
Oh yeah.
It's weird for you, Raine. Like, the bell's not always ringing as a note. It does ring at odd times from your memory, but it's almost like you hadn't realized it was something you're almost missing until you could hear it again. And it kind of like almost puts it
home.
Quite. But you make your way up towards this gate, where these 2 towers jutted on either side, standing good 40 feet tall. You can see kind of crenellations along the top of the walls that run along, and you can see a couple of guards sort of nearish by that are, relative pinpricks until you grow closer and closer and closer. And as you find yourselves at the foot of this thing, I will move you onto the map for Krezk.
Oh, new map.
I'll be telling them sort of small parts about it in the meantime, like don't worry about the bell. It rings at random times, and you get used to it. I mean, it's almost inviting coming back here and hearing it for the first time. What seems like forever.
How long has it been since you were here?
Seems like months even, but could only possibly been a few weeks. Maybe even more. It's hard to tell around here. The days all kind of blur into one eventually. A lot happens in a short space of time, don't you think?
True. And you lived here your whole life?
Yeah. Well, I was born here, raised here. Unfortunately, my family's no more, but hence why I left. But it's nice to see the rest of the world, and at least know there's a hope of leaving.
What happened to your family? If someone may asking.
Mother just... She succumb to the same thing everyone around here succumbs to. The madness of Barovia eventually seeps in, and one morning she wandered out of the gates, and that was it. I was much younger back then, but that's all I've ever seen of her. Father passed away years later.
Sally.
There's no reason to be sorry. It's the curse of Barovia, isn't it? It's just how things go around here.
Nice.
Well, we're gonna make sure that ain't the case anymore.
I'd like to think so. Maybe we'll even come across her if she hasn't already been eaten by wolves. Hell, she could be in the castle. I do sometimes wonder. But please, enough about me. Let's, welcome to Krezk, my hometown.
So as you approach, there's two large wooden doors that you know are closed most of the time, Raine.
Yeah.
And as you approach, you see carved into the arch above the doorway the name Krezk in simple writing, nothing too fanciful. But as you approach, you see that two figures flanking on top of the walls around this village. Two more make their way out of these towers with little arrow slits in them, and one of them, a lithe guy, who I guess this is gonna be really annoying because you're gonna know like almost everyone's names. So I have to like think of names. This guy's called Davian, and as he looks out, he calls across to the group of you as you approach, in this collective of 6 of you. He just says, "Halt! Who goes there?"
I just try and separate myself, like make myself visible from the group and stand out ever so slightly, and just raise my hand up and say, "What's his name again? Sorry."
Davian.
Davian.
Yeah.
Davian. Like, Davian, I've returned. I've brought people similar like myself. It's Raine.
Says, "I know who you are. I'm surprised to see you back. You were told when you left it is not going to be easy to re-enter. And, well..."
I'm very much aware of this, but my business requires me to return.
See him think for a while. "I don't think they're going to like this, friend. Bear with me." And he disappears back into the tower. The other guard's kind of staring out, looking at you quizzically in a way, like observing from a distance. Again, they are 20 or so feet up, and with you guys back from the gates, you have to wait for a little while before he returns. Maybe sort of 4 or 5 minutes later, just says, "The Burgermeister says you're not able to enter. I'm sorry. You know the rules. Your word may be good. You may have lived here your whole life, but you left. You know the rules."
Are you sure he can't be reasoned with? It's about the Abbey.
He again looks curiously. "I don't think so. These outsiders as well. We don't take kindly to them. But
I can vouch for them.
you can do better than that. The winery down the way."
Of course. We get him a shipment monthly.
"We did. They're 2 or 3 weeks overdue."
Now, that can't be good for the people.
No, it's not. And since you've been gone, Dmitri has lost his son. Dmitri being the Burgermeister, from your knowledge. His last son. So, yes, things are not looking well here. So, excuse me if I don't have to head back down there and speak to him. Again, he's not in a good way. Puts on a brave face, but You know how he can be, and well, you know how
I am
people
aware.
can be when they lose someone.
The winery, you say?
Find out what's going on. Bring us some wine. There you'll have your entry.
We'll try and do both. My regards to Dimitri. I hope his sons find safe passage back with us.
Yeah. And he sort of, gives you a knowing nod. And well, maybe even your friends can come in. Have a glass of wine. But sorry, I can't do anything now.
So, it's quite alright, Davian. How's the homestead?
It is what it is. I want my wine, if I'm honest.
I'll return with just that. Be seeing you.
And yourself. He kind of nods. You recognize a couple of the other guards. Not people you particularly know well, but you recognize them. They kind of give you that, like, the shortest of like knowing nods, and return to sort of patrolling around. You see the two that came out step back inside the large towers that jut either side of the kind of like 12-15 foot high oaken doors, and you're left kind of at the wall with them still visible but not staring back at you.
I just turn back to whoever's closest to me. I don't know who's standing beside me, but whoever is, I'll just smile across my face. It's quite alright. They're like this. I was warned, but fortune may be in our favor.
Okay,
What
well,
we need to do. I mean, people from Krezk do get awfully cranky about their wine, so now's as good a time as any to go get some. Shall we?
sure.
Let us go.
There's wine involved, sure.
Please don't drink any of the shipment. They'll notice. They always notice.
So knowing where the winery is, and it is another couple of hours from here. Again, you've got plenty of time. You're relatively sure you'd have time to. Well, this is interesting actually. I suppose it's close to about 3 or 4 p.m. at this point. Journey to the wineries maybe an hour and a half, and beyond that, you know that sunset would be coming maybe 2 hours later. So if your business was at the winery is quick, probably make it back to Krezk. If it's not, you may have to brave the night. So you are aware of this before you journey in that direction. But you head in that direction.
I'll begin leading the way.
Seems like a wise idea.
What could go wrong?
And again, you make your way back round the roads, curving round across the river and down, before the road ceases to be a road and becomes more of a dirt path. It's still navigable, but it's definitely less well travelled. You can see the grooves that have been worn into the ground over probably many years, and many shipments of a fully laden cart have travelled their way up and down this road. And after venturing through the woods where the trees are pulling in on each side ever so slightly, and the mists are curling and swirling, you get to a point at which the road kind of tapers up and over this hill crest to the west. And as you reach that kind of crossroad or so, the muddy trail that you've been following very much sort of branches west, and you see a sign pointing over there for vineyard. You've never been there yourself, but you can see kind of stretching over the hills and rolling across the land for the next sort of 3/4 of a mile or so. Relatively dire looking vineyard, fields of bound branches and trees and whatnot, and beyond it a small homestead in the middle of all of this field of just dried and gnarled vines, as you walk along this sort of pathway as things sort of branch off to the west. As you start,
most of Valaki gets their wine from here.
as you're actually aware, all of Valaki get away from here. All of Barovia really get.
I want to be like sprinkling little bits of information, like
yeah, for sure.
just to them as we go.
So
Tour guide-esque.
Yeah, almost. Kind of into it.
yeah, as you start to journey, the rain starts to pick up a bit. Again, it's relatively light at this point, but rain does. Not you, obviously. God, this is the most annoying name.
I start to pick up.
You do.
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah. And as you follow these fenced off area to the west, as you kind of step between, effectively the vineyard that's wrapping around this pathway, the road kind of skirts north of it and bends towards this homestead sitting in the middle of the middle of this clearing, effectively, where the woods wrap all north, east, south, and is that not right? Northwest and south, excuse me, with the east to the sort of entrance you came in. The fog swirls and pulls at the edges of the road, but don't actually make it onto the road. And as you reach about a quarter of a mile away from the homestead, you can kind of see it sitting there in the middle of this open landscape. You note a figure over in the tree line. It's a cloaked figure, face and body masked by this simple black cloak and the rain that obscures the space between you. Maybe 150, 200 feet away. And the figure just looks, or you can see their hood turns in your direction. And a hand simply just stretches out from beneath the robes. Human hand, and just gestures for you to join them.
I'm gonna try and shout across. Dimitri's the Burgermeister's son, is
No, Dimitri is the Burgermeister of Valaki. Oh, sorry, of Krezk. Oh, God.
I was gonna say I have a different name down for Krezk. I think
Dimitri
Okay.
Dimitri Krezkov.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I've got it down there. Yeah.
Yeah. His son, the only one that was remaining, Ilya, is the one who you've been informed is dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you see this figure in the distance by the tree line, beckoning for you to join them.
Just,
200 feet away again.
About that, yeah. Maybe a little bit closer, but not by much.
What nice grapes!
They're not within 60 feet. Yeah, sure.
I just want to sort of shout across the way. Ilya was his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ilya, is that you?
Again, with the rain falling and it picking up and the distance between you, you get the idea that sound is not probably making it to them. And they sort of stand there, standing like practically under one of the trees, beckons for you, and then just sort of steps back. Still visible, but in the shade of the tree, really sheltered from the rain.
We should be on our guard, but don't attack until we know it's definitely the Burgermeister's son. Then we're definitely not getting into Krezk.
Okay.
It's your town. We'll follow your lead.
Okay, I'll step get a bit closer.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to move up to at least next to Raine, and then sort of telepathically say just to him, "If you like, I can go first, but I'll wait for your mark. I can take a hit."
I'll go up onto Raine's other side as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks, guys.
Okay, so as you sort of flank him, you sort of approach where this figure is. Sort of.
Yeah. Approach it a little cautiously. Though. I'm not gonna like diving in. I'm just gonna take it slowly.
Yeah, they seem to be just kind of watching from beneath a dark sort of cloaked hood, and as you make your way, you get within about 100 feet, about 80 feet. Are you guys going to do anything at any interval of distance by the time you on your way up to them? Or are you otherwise just approaching?
I think if I'm suspicious, which this definitely is, considering what...
Yeah, considering this
Yes,
landscape,
that's-
this is odd for sure. But
This is definitely odd, sure. I will use my Divine Sense at its maximum range of 60 feet,
okay,
which I'll cast again.
Yeah. As you sort of get to that threshold, 2 pings, bing, same ones you've been getting before. yeah, you're kind of, you get that kind of flash, and it almost like you can almost see this rollout of kind of how far it reaches, and you see it kind of wash over this figure slightly to no celestial fiend undead pings coming from it. And again, as you approach within 40 feet, 30 feet, 20 feet, the figure kind of stands there. Again, arms folded, hood kind of low over their eyes, but you can kind of see the face of a man, again slightly bearded and very grey. As you make your way over, their head sort of tilts up slightly as you get within about 20 feet, and the voice echoes out and just says, "You don't look like you're with the vampire. You don't look to be one of these druids. So what are you doing here?" Again, cutting through the sound of the rain slightly, as he seems to be relatively sheltered. And you see at this point as well, you see about 3 or 4 other figures sort of emerge from behind the tree line. They don't have any weapons drawn, but they're similarly kind of cloaked. All look to be humans, you know. But the individual in front of you just pulls their hood back ever so slightly. You see this rather aged man, cataracts in one eye, just look across all of you.
We're missing our wine ship, Krezk. We've come to see what the problem is.
This is my winery.
Oh, so you're the one behind all this. It's a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance. I appreciate your wares, as does all of Krezk.
As does all of Barovia.
Of course, the only distributor.
There's some advantage we have with that, I suppose. My name is Elvir Matikov. Where are you? You're a strange bunch. Not locals. No?
Not necessarily. Well, I am.
You don't look like a local.
I get that a lot.
You've spent time in Barovia.
Not long. Only a few weeks. Maybe not even that.
Not even that. It's been like maybe a week, not even. But yeah, it's been like a pretty intense few days. Well, you'll have noticed there is no wine in Krezk. There's no wine in Velaki. No new wine. And there's no wine being made here. They're not a threat. Come out. And he sort of speaks behind him. And as you see, the 3 or 4 that have emerged, another like cluster of 5 sort of step out from behind some of the trees and shuffle their way forward. And you see what looks to be a rather large group of individuals. You see 4 other adults, and the remaining 4 are all sort of youngsters. One looks to be in their teens. One is, 2 of them are sort of between the ages of maybe 8 and 12, and the one that looks to be the teen is holding what looks like a young baby. But you're not with this vampire though, no?
No.
You don't look to be.
I mean, very much not. I'll point to my giant fucking sun on my...
Yeah. This is a fair point. Well, it seems you have sent some minions to disrupt the flow of the how you say, a social lubricant in this place, in this valley. He has sent the druids to, and their little plant creatures to mess with us, to destroy the winery, and they currently occupy it.
Well, we'd be more than happy to assist you with this small problem.
It is far from ideal, and that would be appreciated. We are not equipped, we're but a family of winemakers. But
Have you come across a young man? May have come this way in recent time. Not with the druids.
Shakes his head. No, you're the first faces we have seen since these wild druids took up residence in our homestead.
Didn't even realize they had druids.
They're not nice people. They command the plants to corrupt and change this place. And they bow to that monster.
We're hearing about a lot of people who bow to that monster.
He just grunts.
So I just turn to the rest of the party. Well, I don't mean to sort of drag you into my hometown's problems, but if you're interested in solving one problem and gaining access to that abbey, it appears that this may be a solution. Let's say we get our hands a little dirty.
My favorite thing.
I never knew mine were clean.
Just turn to Guzra in particular. Maybe plant some... Bring some new life to this earth.
Perhaps. It's something I will check soon.
Yeah, have to remember though that, you know, not all these situations are as easy as we'd like them to be. So, you all okay with that?
They're just druids. What's the worst that could happen?
Well, they command these little blights, these gnarled creatures.
They command them.
He just nods. Corrupting the land. Forcing us to take refuge out here in the woods.
Do they attack you?
He nods. But we got away. But this is all I know, all we know.
How many?
I don't know.
What are these things you discuss that attacked you?
These wild-eyed
Can you describe
druids.
them for us?
Men and women who think they are of I think that what they do to this land is a blessing, when in fact they corrupt it, they destroy it, and I can even see the land, my gestures to the fields of spreading out to the south of here. My crop is already withering and dying from their very presence. Don't wish to let them stay there much longer, but we don't stand much of a chance. The blights themselves, I don't know. We were... Is that on my end?
No.
That was me.
Okay, it's just cameras. I saw cameras get choppy, yeah. They're numerous and I'm not good at identifying them. They are not human, though. Corrupted plants.
You don't mean like weeds?
That would be an insult to weeds, yes. Like them, but worse. Moving, sentient, aggressive and violent. Under the thrall of those druids, it would seem. But help me, help my family.
You gotta see what this is.
Yes, we do.
Sure.
We wish to do this now.
No time like the present.
Then we should also think about perhaps the time that we might get back to Krezk. It's getting late.
Maybe if we clear out their homestead, they'll let us crash on the sofa.
Trundle will kind of look to the people like, if we help you out, like, can we crash, kind of thing.
If you need to, if the place is safe, I don't see why not.
I'll consider that payment along with the delivery of wine.
If you are looking to deliver the wine, then yes, you would be most welcome to stay.
Perfect.
But if you abscond with the wine, and he looks at you sternly, well, you won't abscond with the wine. He just like eyes you, unblinking.
Don't
I
worry,
would never do such a thing to my town.
we'll help your family. It's fine. Are you guys safe out here?
We have been here for a couple of days. We are safe enough.
Okay.
I wish not to stay here much longer, though.
Well, we'll try real hard.
Thank you. And you hear the sound of the baby starting to cry, like sort of being hushed by the teen, as they again, the teenage girl sort of holding the baby, looking after it, and sort of rocking it to stop it from crying. But you hear it kind of sort of whimpering in the rain. That although you're under tree cover and are relatively covered, occasional smatterings of rain get down.
Let's make this quick then.
Go kiss some
More than my
flash.
approaches.
Got the feeling really smart, being like, God, it'd be awful convenient if we had tools for cutting plants down. Just like holding his knife in his hand, feeling like,
Cool. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get gardening.
It's going to be like just a session of just loads of garden puns.
Where's Alan Titchmarsh?
Get out. Bear with me. I just need to make sure that your tokens are visible. So it's interesting that you, as you wind your way down towards the vineyard and leave them back in the tree line, as you see them almost blend back in, the one remaining figure of Velvet just standing there looking and watching for a while before he too sort of blends back. You approach from the northern side as the road winds down towards this building. It's quite a wide, large building. You can see the walls to the very eastern side appear to be some sort of like extension, seem to be relatively recent, and sort of a wooden construction, whilst the rest of the building jutting up 2 full floors appears to be of like a sturdier stone construction. And as you journey close to it, you can see it kind of sits there. There's multiple doorways you see into different parts, and an open, what looks like bay, which has a cart parked up within it. The cart itself, at a distance, you can see has barrels laden within it, and is sheltered from within on a sort of a wooden walkway surrounding where the cart is parked up. You see a door to the right hand side of that, from your direction, and beyond that you see a don't know how best to describe it. A sort of another sheltered area, a stone plateau, almost like a patio underneath part of the building, supported by a few stone pillars, and just to the west of the house, a small outhouse. And as you wind up towards this, the path sort of narrowing in through the vineyard. I will move you onto this map, which hopefully is going to be functional, and hopefully you're all on there, right about there. Right about
And hopefully
there.
it's not going to be someone's grave.
Oh God, don't
Hopefully.
say that.
Again, you're actually a little bit further out than this, but because of the style of the map, shall we say, you guys are all lined up like right along this this edge of the map. So as you're approaching, again, there's a doorway in front of you. It seems to be relatively nondescript, this open sort of plateau to the west. To the east, there's this this cart, and again east to that, there's a big set of double doors. What would you like to
Okay,
do?
just before we go in, I want to pull Guzzer aside if he will come with me.
Sure.
Okay, just want to go. Before we go in, I just want to say I'm real sorry for not getting a toy for your kid. I just thought if I got one custom made and then we can go back and fetch it, that was real sad.
Gutter. We'll go. I do appreciate your kindness in this matter, but you know, there's a whole town out there, and I'm sure we can find something. Perhaps
I just don't want you thinking that you're just a fence. I've been thinking about that letter, and none of us can know what we're supposed to be until we already done it. So, you know, I don't want you limiting yourself like that. You think about that future, and you know, think about all those things you can do.
I appreciate your kind words. Now I believe we got some plants that need cutting down.
I think so too.
He doesn't know cool words. He doesn't know cool words, does it?
As you say that,
Let's go murder a weed.
Yeah.
as you say that, as you approach the building and get within about sort of 10 or so feet of it, you hear the sound of rustling around you, and the vineyard itself, the vines, these grape vines that you could have walked past, some of which look well stocked, some of which look a bit more barren. Some of them start to shift and twist and like curl up in the distance, but you hear an unmistakable, almost collective shuffling as you see 10, 20, 30 or so uncurl and start to sort of shift in the distance and start to converge in your position. They're a good 120 feet or so away, but they start to shift in and make their way towards you. This horrible kind of creaking and cracking sound as the branches unfurl and snap and shift, and they make their way towards you, shambling in your direction. Just this wall of plants just moving in from all sides. What would you like to do?
Cheers.
I'd like to take a step back, but the map doesn't allow me to. But
Well,
I think that
they're coming from
They're coming from-
close to them.
from
Yeah.
that side.
So they're like essentially trying to pin us into the
crushing
house,
us.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that kind of thing. You see, again, these plants that shift maybe 3 or 4 feet tall, again, trudging through the mist and the fog and the rain that's falling and almost causing the mist to form in itself, just driving slowly in. What would you like to do? They're not that
Shit.
slow.
Okay.
Might.
do we knock? I mean,
Considering 100 feet, we'll tell Zadie that the plants are there.
You can definitely hear the shifting and stuff going on.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's no chance that like Elvir planted the evidence here, is there?
Planted the.
Sorry, I'm just trying to think of like puns with like garden stuff in it.
Says that.
open the door, Gaza.
I think
Open the door.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we go
I will-
inside.
Yeah, well,
I will
they're shifting in,
push
they're
the-
closing in and closing the gap to maybe 90 or so feet, 80, 70, 60.
Yes,
Side.
I will
Side.
push the I'll push it through with the edge of my scythe.
Okay.
I'll spring through if
Uh,
anything.
where are you going to? There's several doors, several ways towards. Okay, as you turn the handle turns, and as you put your shoulder into the door, you feel it kind of hit some resistance, and not move. It is just like a wooden door. Oh,
Chandler,
well bit.
kick it in.
Well, it's an
I
outside.
kicked the door! Ah!
What's the weather?
Second death!
Go, go, go.
Okay, so Trundle,
I feel like I've
you're
been
trying to
here
kick the door.
before.
Go ahead and make an athletics check as you try and kick the door in.
Also, I was hoping to have taken an action whilst we weren't in combat to turn into my hybrid form. Is it too late because I'm doing the action now?
Yeah, that
I
would
assume
probably
that's a bit silly.
probably step in.
I'll
way
kick
of
the
that.
door down and then I'll turn into a werewolf. Looks
Okay, sure. So go ahead and make an athletics check.
athletics.
That's not even a. That's not
I
even.
hurt my foot,
How on earth?
You have a +0, right? Okay. I was like.
and then I turn into a werewolf.
Yeah. You just run forward and you like slam your shoulder in, and you end up like headbutting the door slightly, and it actually dazes you a little bit. These things are moving and shifting in, like.
Get out the
curling.
way, you idiot! And then I'm gonna push the thing.
Okay, go ahead, make an athletics check yourself.
That works.
You drop yourself into the door, pulling the handle down as you do to try and like force damage onto the lock, but the door doesn't budge. It impacts into something, and it kind of jolts in place. You hear like the very slight creaking of wood, but no.
I'll attempt to get through another door then, if combat still hasn't started.
Well, it's kind of
This one looks kind of clear up here.
It's kind of happening all at one all in one go. Excuse me.
I couldn't see Zadie. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
run after Zadie.
so at this point in time,
Yeah, I think this way looks clear.
sure. At this point in time, because this is sort of like a semi-combat-y kind of scenario, as they're shifting and moving in, there's going to be a firing of these dart-like protrusions start flying over. Only 5 come flying over at this point in time, but they're going to be it's going to be 2 at you, Raine, 2 at you, Rhea, as you're sort of still deciding what to do and watching as the others try to bust the door down.
Sure.
These are at a higher range increment, but they are at disadvantage. But nonetheless, 2 against Raine. Okay, 13 doesn't hit, does it?
Yep.
And
No.
against Rhea, okay, you're fine. As these things, and 1 against. Nope. Okay, yeah. So you guys are absolutely fine. But as you're standing there, these hail of like wooden splinters, almost about maybe 4 or 5 inches long, start to just fly over and hammer into the wall in front of you, bursting. They seem a bit off the mark, but as you see this happening, the creatures are sort of just shifting and moving their way towards the building. Zadie, you make your way up towards that set of doors, and that door itself is actually ajar. There's another door directly on your right as you move down into the house, but the door in front of you is actually ajar, as you've correctly noted. If you bear with me 1 sec, I have a feeling. I have a really odd feeling. Yeah, in fact, you can see without needing to make any sort of check, this door's actually been busted open, and the actual lock has kind of been splintered somewhat, and it kind of sits open, but it is open and opens into what looks like a hallway. You can see that there's a window at the back. I know the dynamic lighting kind of gives you this like long view, but that is a window at the edge that you can see.
Okay, I am going to move in quickly but carefully and look around.
Okay, yeah, I mean, moving in again, it's slightly different for you, obviously, with your. In fact, yeah, you probably can't see through windows. Fuck, I never even thought about that.
I mean, I can see through them as long as it's 60 feet, right? Oh wait,
No,
does the glass appear solid?
Right, yeah, it's like echolocation effectively.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, shit.
So,
no.
yeah, you-
Okay, yeah, fine.
That's. I mean, again, you don't see anything specific out there. You wouldn't
Yeah.
see anything specific out there, so nothing lost, I suppose. But yeah, you move in and you see another set of doors again, busted. What look to be slightly forced open, and opening into a wider room with what looks like barrels that you can notice as you move in. Are you all following Zadie at this point?
Yeah, we're all
Barrows.
Yeah, I'm
standing
grabbing
outside
a
for no
really-
reason.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I will head into the barrel room
Mhm.
and immediately put my back to the wall so I can see what's ahead of me.
Sure. So you make your way inside, and again, as you step inside, you notice the ceiling in this area is pretty low, but it becomes apparent that there's like what looks to be some sort of walkway above you in this sort of on the eastern wall and along the southern wall. There's a walkway that you can kind of see up to. You can see some railings of it, and you see in front of you several casks, like large casks, about 10 feet wide, about I don't know exactly quite how tall, maybe 10 or 15, I'd say about 10 feet tall as well. These things are big, kind of vats almost, and you can see the large taps on the front of them as you make your way in. Rhea, looking behind you as you move in, these things are still sort of firing off and just splintering against the house, and you're able to weave your way in without getting hit, and step your way inside, under the shelter at least. However, actually, this is interesting. As you move through, Rhea, around that point, you hear the cackling of what sounds like a it sounds like a madman almost. And looking up above this the cart, as you start to move through, there is there's a hollow space effectively above where the cart is. You guys would have seen this, wouldn't have seen anything, but as you move through Rhea, along with Arena there as well, you see that the mechanism used to sort of load this cart up, sort of like a crane above the actual cart itself to load barrels in. There is a, on the opposite side, standing kind of up and across from you, is a figure, a kind of a wild-eyed, human-looking figure with a gnarled branch in their hand that sort of almost emanates this dark presence, and they sort of look across at you, and also to give you context of where they roughly stand, roughly there, but up about 10 feet or so, and they look across at you with these kind of these eyes that just burn through you. They go, "Oh, you've got company!" And I am going to need you to roll initiative at this point. So
is that everyone?
that is everyone to get an order.
Oh,
You do all hear this kind of like this faint cackling coming from behind you.
I'll take that.
Oh, credit tonight.
Yikes.
Damn!
High numbers.
Damn!
Unlucky druid. Maybe next time.
Well, bear with me.
Yeah, don't speak too early.
You just never know.
First to roll, last to go. Makes sense.
Your real life initiative is much different to your in-game initiative.
Cool.
Yep, it's a thing.
What, real life initiative?
Yeah.
Why not? Alright, this is interesting.
I'd love if your CV had like a character sheet and you're like,
I would love that.
That's my initiative. Okay.
Yeah, this is interesting because there's like, because of the room that you're in, and well, the rooms that you're in, there's like a sort of a dual layer kind of thing. Also noting that that sort of southeastern corner of the area that Raine, Guzzy, you're currently in, you note that it's not stairs that lead up or down, but it's like a ramp or so. There's a ramp that leads down and up from the floor you're on. So effectively to what you imagine is a basement level. It does lead below ground and up to what would be a second floor. Okay, so everyone's rolled initiative, I believe. Oh shit, that's a really good point. Me. This is where like
You haven't rolled Strahd. It's initiative.
not yet. Well, he's on a different layer, so
Oh, stop it!
he's the one who said it.
I mean, we should be at dinner right now.
He should be.
Yeah, he's sitting there preparing the roast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I put so much. I made souffles.
Right, he's just pouring out the glasses of wine for every spot, like, and make sure the silverware's nice and clean. Clean that silverware! I see a speck on that plate!
The problem is, he's already so lonely. He just wants friends, and we're not going to rock up. He's going to have everything prepared.
He'll be singing to himself.
Okay, so Zadie, you hear, interestingly, and again, because of the dual layering of this map, it becomes really kind of janky. You hear like this kind of laughter come from behind. You also hear this laughter echo in from within as well, within the room that you're in. You can hear that's coming from above you and further into the room, but you don't get sight of anything or anyone, as these kind of large barrels encompass most of your vision and whatnot. But you do hear sort of laughter come from within the room, as well as a odd scratching sound.
Great.
Yeah. What would you like to do?
I will first of all bonus action cast spiritual weapon.
Okay.
That's always a solid idea.
Are you targeting anything with it? Because if you cast it to just summon it, effectively you're not targeting anything.
Yeah, I just want to summon it near me so I can send it out as soon as I see something.
Okay, sure. But if you see something this turn, you won't be able to then send it out because you'll have already cast it, right? You understand that?
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, I'll move first. I'm gonna move here. That doesn't help.
Cool. Okay, so go ahead and just give me a perception check as well, whilst you move in.
Okay.
Actually, I'll say with advantage because I feel like there's okay. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. Yeah, you see as you move into the room. Again, your haze of a vision catches several clusters of birds in this place. What look like crows or ravens, kind of perched and bundled.
They can
near
only
the
ever
roof.
be on our side now.
Exactly, right. But you also notice along the top level, near the furthermost barrel. Sort of these barrels are standing upright. To be clear, it's near the edge of that there is a this sort of human with wild bushy hair. She has kind of leaves and twigs somewhat bundled in her hair, and she looks, her head sort of looks around at you wildly and does this big, relatively toothy or like gappy toothed grin as she stares across at you with pretty ragged clothing. It's dirty. It's turned sort of almost a shade of brown. You imagine what was probably once beige or white clothing. And she just looks at you just with this big grin on her face. She sees you and goes, "Oh, welcome."
I mean, they seem nice.
She welcomed you. What can I say?
I mean, I've just been told that we're... Yeah. Okay, I'm going to cast spiritual... Can I cast spiritual weapon at her?
You can. Yeah, you're within range. I'll give
Okay.
I'll give you a visual context by just moving them onto this layer. They are above, but effectively they sort of stand there, sort of somewhat crouched behind these wooden barriers. But because it's not like a ranged attack from you, the spiritual weapon doesn't have any sort of negative impact. So yeah, you summon the weapon next to this figure and go ahead and... Oh, you've rolled it? So 20 will definitely hit. These aren't like really well armored or anything like that. So as you summon the weapon that appears next to them, if you want to draw like a circle as well using the draw tool, then please do, and then you can sort of just use that.
What for my beautiful weapon?
Yeah. I really need to get you something sorted, and if I remember, I'll do it after this session.
Because it's gonna be so pretty.
Exactly. What form does the weapon take as well, by the way?
It's a mace, but the top of the mace is a pelor sunburst.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. So it swings down.
Okay, so that's my bonus action.
Mm-hmm.
Can I cast a cantrip with my action?
You cast a
Have I
cantrip,
done
you
that?
can't cast a spell.
Okay, so I'm going to cast Sacred Flame on her as well.
Okay, so and again, it's a dex save. There's no benefit of cover or anything. It's one of the things about Sacred Flame, I believe. So it's a dex save. DC-13. That's a failure. So as you spiritual weapon whacks them, the flames start to kind of wreath around their legs, and they just get smacked back into the wall. And you see them stagger. Blood sort of spurts out their nose a little bit. Doesn't look happy. And her eyes.
I mean, she just welcomed me to her home, and I just smashed her in the face twice, so that's fair.
Yeah.
You don't sound very stable.
Well, I mean, that's a
Okay, but that's still not okay.
You're being awfully judgmental. Yeah, you just whack this person upside the face. Okay, Rhea,
And they sent planting.
Yeah, you see again for ease of purpose. I'm gonna move this person here. They sort of look down at you, and look wildly. Again, they are relatively covered up there from the line of sight, but that you can still see them. So, what would you like to do? As they kind of laugh at you.
I'm going to draw my short bow
Mhm.
and take a shot at the one that's over my head.
Okay, go ahead and make an attack roll.
Okay.
As you... Oh, actually, I haven't rolled for Arena. A 14 with the cover that they have just hits. So, yeah, again, no sneak attack or anything, but the arrow does weave through the kind of crane mechanism and catches them in the shoulder, and you see them stagger back a little bit before stepping forward, holding this branch, and just... and sort of angrily just grits its teeth at you.
Yeah.
Not happy either. Also, yeah, I was going to roll for Arena. Apologies. Why the fuck is Arena? Guys, where's Arena?
Well,
What?
I think she's still
She's in
outside,
between.
isn't she?
She's in between me and
I
Rhea.
meant her character sheet. It's because I already took a
Okay.
look. That's a 4. I rolled to GM apparently. So she is, I think, bottom of the initiative anyway. Oh no, she. Sorry guys, apologies. I there we go. Cool, she's in there now. Okay, so you take the shot and it sort of slams into its shoulder again. Still standing up there, looking down at you angrily. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Sorry, I'm gonna use. I'm gonna push past Irina.
Difficult terrain, moving through allies, but
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. And then I'll push past Guzza as well. I use my dash as much as possible.
Sure, so it'll be like
I think
10,
that'll
15,
get me through
25,
indoors.
35, 40 to there. So you've still got 20 feet of movement. However, you hear the scratching sound within the room nearest to you.
Okay. I'll head up close to where Trundle is. Sorry, I just almost moved myself through a wall there.
And yeah, you note that the door that you passed on the other side here is also it's barricaded. There's like a set of like 3 wooden planks, all sort of hammered heavily into the wall next to over like the door frame of this door that you're sort of next to.
Yeah. Can I use a free action to put my crossbow away? Not my crossbow.
You would have had to draw your short bow. You can do it next turn as a free action.
Yeah.
But you've had to draw it and fire it. So drawing it's the free action.
Okay,
So
sure.
yeah, unfortunately, you still have it out.
That's fine.
Cool.
That's my turn.
Cool. Raine, you're up.
All right, cool. I saw Ray fire in that direction, didn't I?
You would have just
walked
about.
through there. I'm just trying to establish because I can't really. I don't understand the layout of the map all that much.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know if I heard walkway. I don't know if she was firing off a walkway into the map.
I mean, effectively, you wouldn't have seen it, but you would have just about. You would have heard her firing her bow over in this direction here, because I'm aware that I can see everything and you can't. So
I
it was
see
over
nothing.
Over in this direction. That you've seen literally nothing.
Well, because I'm in like this weird corner spot, so I could just see like through lines.
Yeah, but you see where I'm pointing over here, yes?
Yeah.
So she was over there and fired her bow, then ran through with her bow in hand. You also saw Zadie kind of move her way into the room and let off a couple of spells quite loudly.
I will move 2 spaces inward here, and fucking map's in the way. Not map, sorry, my character sheet. Let me just move that way. Okay, I will try and make a step here. Difficult terrain. I have to step around them.
Yeah, one
Wait,
sec.
what about
For
these
ease of
cylinders?
purpose, I will
We can't step around
remove
this.
remove the doors for visual purpose because they can.
Yeah.
So what?
Right, I want to step around Rhea and Trundle
Yeah,
and get to roundabout.
you can make your way across there without any too much of an issue.
Yeah.
The barrel's there, I'm aware, but.
And I'll take one other step here. I can roughly see the outline of someone here, and that's probably all my movement, I think. Well,
Yeah.
So,
you have five more feet, but yeah, you get a sight of someone because they're up on the level above, and Zadie's just been firing at them. They do have some cover.
I'm gonna take a shot at them.
Okay.
And I'm going to. I think I'm gonna use my. What is it? The clock on the clock I carry with me.
Okay, so you're gonna use your one of your item and
I've got the name down here. I just can't find the name of it. Hold on.
What is it?
Clockwork amulet is what it's called.
Yep. So it gives you a 10 plus your
plus my hit. That's +8, so 18 to hit.
an 18 will hit. So go ahead and roll damage.
I deal 12 damage.
All right, fantastic. As you send the shot flying, they stagger back as the shot like echoes out loudly, sort of echoing out throughout the room. And you see them stagger back, standing up there. This wound starting to open up and bleed through their stained top.
Tasty.
Yeah.
And that I think I will use my movement to just take another step back, just out of sight, and then that'll be my turn.
Sure. Again, for understanding, there is still like a somewhat visual from where you are there, somewhat.
Yeah.
But it's all sort of occluded.
It's just shadows.
Yeah. Okay. Interestingly, again, this layer thing becomes very interestingly complicated. As from a door upstairs, you notice. Let me get the line here. Yeah, okay. So you see, and I'm going to put them on your layer, but they are up 15 feet or so. You see up on the walkway to the west end of the room, someone sort of burst out of a doorway, very quickly followed by... Oh, interesting. No, okay, yeah. So they... this is really interesting. They...
Say that.
Well, it's interesting.
It is interesting, I'm sure.
Everyone make con saves.
No, not at all. God, why has the character sheet disappeared? This is always what happens. Where are they? Druid, thank you. So as they step out, you see Zadie, you sense to your west someone burst out a doorway across the way, and they're going to... Alright, so they're going to bring their hands together and extend their...
Clap.
They're going to... Clap. No, they're going to extend their hands out and go, speaking in Druidic. And in the air around you, this is around... this is going to be around Zadie, Raine, and Trundle. I need you to make strength saving throws as vines and weeds kind of burst out of the ground and start to try and entangle you as they start to wreath you around.
Oof.
Um,
Oof.
oh
my lord.
Fuck?
Well, it's a shame that I didn't turn into a werewolf after I didn't get into the door.
What the fuck? What was that? Okay, yeah.
what are you
So,
Bugs? Bugs? Can I file a bug report?
okay, so effectively, it's a DC 10. It's DC 12. For some reason, it says 10. It's not. It's not down to proficiency.
Semantics.
Yeah. So you guys notice as effectively a fucking Jesus wept. An area of like stuff just to wreath out of the ground around here, sort of coming from the. Can you guys see that's on the wrong layer? I'm smart. Effectively, it sort of extends into the next room. Why can I not select it? God,
It's all natural.
this map sometimes. There we go. Boom! It kind of wreaths from the ground, sort of extending through the doorway behind you almost. And you're all currently considered restrained.
Oh, that's the bad one.
Yeah, that is a bad one. So as the vines kind of wreath around, it just catches you all by surprise, and you all...
Why is restrained the bad one?
It's not just grappled.
Your hit points full.
Yeah, it reduces your speed to 0, and you have disadvantage on attack rolls, and attack rolls against you have advantage. I believe that's how it works.
Do not pass go. You don't collect £200.
Yep.
It's all of that. It's really bad.
Yeah, Ray, it skirts near you, but you're able to just about avoid it as it doesn't quite
Not very
catch you.
cash money.
It looks like now that they've sprung up, it looks like they're not like actively shifting around, but they are creating this area of difficult terrain. If that wasn't obvious. So yeah, fucking hell. And you see as the individual sort of shifts their way with their remaining movement about 10 feet down. Again, somewhat covered by the barrels, laughing as they go. That's their turn. Trundle, it is now you. As these vines sort of wrap up and wreath around you, you're unable to move. What would you like to do?
I'd like to huff and I'll puff and I'll blow the house down. No, I'd like to get angry. I'd want to start trying to rip at the vines. I'm gonna get a little bit feral and turn into my hybrid.
Okay,
form.
so you're gonna go hybrid. Okay, so using your action, you sort of shift and like bulk up slightly. The vine's still wreathing around you, but your form shifts and changes and grows in size slightly. Still restrained, but now with your I think we had the fist icon as your I'm a werewolf or I'm a hybrid now form. So that's your.
I need to actually get an image of it.
Yeah, we know that's all right. We do need to get something sorted, but you start to bulk. Your strength grows. However, you are still restrained, as that was your action. It is an action to try and break the restraint. So
I didn't know that, but that's fine. Can I use my bonus action? Yeah, to use my blood right to, as I'm kind of tearing away a little bit at this thing, even though knowing it doesn't do anything, to sort of get like an icy shroud, like an icy cover over all of my claws.
Mm-hmm. Your claws spark up into their almost slightly I don't know how to describe it exactly, just pearly white glow around them, and the air around them starts to coalesce and freeze on them. Again, you take I think it's 4 points of damage. It's to your level, and you feel the sort of power surge into your fingers as the blood almost drains away from them, to allow them to just get colder and colder. So that's your action, your bonus action. You don't have any movement at this point, so
that's me.
That'll be your turn. Okay, it is now the one at the top's turn who's been shot. a couple of times. So they don't like you. They really don't like you.
Seems reasonable.
I wonder why.
Who knows? So, gonna have a quick look here. This is very interesting. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. So seeing you all bound up, and having taken a shit ton of damage from you, Raine, they're going to spark flame in their hand and throw it in your direction.
Okay.
Moving slightly closer to do so. However, as you're restrained, they have advantage on the attack as they move sort of over here and send it in your direction. So, using produce flame, advantage. It's only a 13 to hit.
13 doesn't hit.
Okay, yeah. So despite being restrained, the fire kind of curves around and slams again into the wall behind you, bursting and exploding to no effect. And you see them kind of, blood dripping out of their mouth, kind of tired and somewhat, what we'll call it, beaten and shot at this point. They're going to move back over this direction, and they're going to disappear from view as you see them kind of, you see them disappear from view. As they move over there, sort of limping their way over. So now the other druid's turn, and having shot him, Rhea, this guy's not too happy either. However, his only visual is of Irina, so he is going to use... he's going to hop down onto the barrels there, which is like it's not a big drop from where he is. He sort of climbs on the crane and slides down slightly, but it's only about 5 or so feet, and is going to cast Thunder Wave in that direction, which is actually going to clip Guzzer as well, I believe. It's a 15-foot square in this way, and so I need both Irina, which I will roll, obviously, and Guzzer, I need you to make a con save, as Thunder Wave just echoes out and... Ooh, that's some pretty beefy damage. That's max damage.
Oh, I will roll a hero.
It is a DC 12. Again, it's not adding their proficiency
I will
bonus.
roll a hero die.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. Go for it.
And Irina.
Nope, no I won't. Ooh, that's a lot of damage.
Okay, so Irina is impacted by this and thrown off balance. She staggers back and is sort of like wheezing and puffing at this point as she sort of slumps to the side, almost unconscious, but managing to just about maintain her composure. And in fact, no, she doesn't, because she's knocked back as well. So yeah, she for ease of purposes, is going to slide sideways and against the wall from the impact. And you see her kind of tumble down here, managing to just about gain her footing. And she is looking very, very rough, as like she's just knocked back and completely taken by surprise. As are you. You then hear the sounds of this individual clambering up, but again, they are out of view because they were only seen by yourself and Irina. So, it's now Irina's turn. She's going to get herself up, or in fact, she's already up, but she's going to stumble her way towards this doorway, see everything that's taking place, and she has no fucking range. She's going to move herself to one corner and uncork a bottle, and she's going to take a potion of healing, as she just got absolutely spanked there. That's really bad as well, but it's better than nothing. So as she chugs it, you see some life return to her, but she's scorched, slightly singed by the thunder that kind of blasted over her, and she looks somewhat shell-shocked, but she's maintaining her composure. She throws the bottle down into these kind of vines that are curving around, and you hear some druidic phrases coming from the east where the individual came from. Guzzer, you're now up.
Right. Upon Sorry, she said she stood up. I don't see that being as
No,
prone.
she's not prone. My bad.
Right.
She pulls herself into the
Okay,
corner,
cool.
and starts making her way that way to the.
Sure, I will move into the room, seeing a brief glimpse of it. So I'll move. Is that 10 feet, I assume?
Yeah. Because of the doors.
And then moving to there, seeing my 3 friends completely entangled.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, yeah. And then again, could go to my older, and I will cast Blessed on these 3 fools that don't know how to deal with like roots.
Okay, so you cast Bless, and as you all sort of find yourselves bound up, you also find yourselves instilled with a feeling of, I don't know what to describe it as, confidence.
Arousal.
Help us, we've never seen plants before.
Yeah. You're the one who knows plants well, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So
Why won't my weed killer work?
as you instill the Bless across the 3 of them, including Trundle, who's sort of shifting and his eyes are burning, his muzzle sort of extending slightly. Again, no mouth, but pushing heavily against the kind of the wraps that he had surrounding it, almost like the bandana. That's what I'm looking for. That's your action. You still have some movement and a bonus action.
I will remain there,
Okay.
waiting for this thing to come around the corner.
All right. So Zadie, you're up. You see, as the one that you had been attacking, he seems to have sort of disappeared, sort of out of your line of sight. There's another one up there who's there isn't actually a doorway behind them because they're on the layer above, but they're standing again at the far end of the room, having just launched a fire. In fact, it wasn't them. They're the one who's sort of set the entangle out. You find yourself obviously bound as well.
I'm gonna try and get out of the plants.
Okay.
Which is an action. Right?
It is an action. You have to make a strength save, but you can add a d4 because of Bless.
Yep. Which I will take.
Okay, it's a DC 12.
Oh,
Hero point.
these are really difficult plants, guys.
Are you going to use a hero point?
I am going to use a hero
Okay.
point.
Long man would be mighty helpful right about now.
I mean, just don't. I'm not even going to say the number.
It's 3.
Don't say that. God.
Mark off a hero point, and as you're instilled with this
These
all of these
guys.
boosts of power and drive to get up and out of this, you just struggle against the vines, and you're unable to break it. You struggle uselessly against the vines. That's your action. You still have.
And Felor looked upon his flock and said, "You shall roll once."
You still have a bonus action. Should you like to use it?
I'm gonna send my spiritual weapon to whichever one I can see and just bonk it on the head.
Sure,
Just be
yeah,
like,
you can see one
"Rid of the
there.
plant."
I don't think there's any sort of disadvantage or anything, even though you're restrained, because it is a movement. So go ahead and roll the attack and the damage for that.
It's in Pelor's hands now. This is a nat one. I'm gonna cry.
Don't say that.
that.
It's a 23. That's pretty good. That's pretty good damage as well. So as you,
Yeah, it's really solid.
yeah,
Still stuck though.
Still just in a plant.
yeah, yeah. So it's
Like a
absolutely.
Harry Potter situation where I just have to accept the plant and just.
Sorry, that was 9, not 8. You move it over and just thwack this person in the head. They haven't been hit yet, and they sort of stagger back slightly. Ooh.
Ooh.
Bear with me.
Are the wolves nearby?
No, that's Harry. That's different.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Let me know when they're in 30 feet. 'Cause- oh, they're going to be best friends.
Okay. As you thwack this person on the head, the vines start to wither and fall, and breaking their concentration. The vines remain curled up and wilted in the area, sort of having sprouted almost from nowhere from these rocks. However, it wilts, falls, and
Does it look difficult to traverse?
Wait, did I
Anyway.
fix the issue even though I almost rolled 2 nat ones?
you broke the concentration of the
That's
spell
incredible.
cluster.
Should have hit with a
Praise be Shanti.
first.
Yeah, well, I mean, you didn't necessarily know that, so.
No.
So yeah, you break the concentration. Again, the vines remain there, but not impeding your progress. Just sort of dead and crunching and drying up very quickly. In fact, they kind of wilt away, but whatever. So you now have movement if you'd like to use it.
Oh my god, I can move.
can,
Yeah,
if
I will. I will move. I'll move here so that I can see people. That
Sure. Yeah, well, I mean,
Although
effectively,
these barrels are really
well,
causing some
effectively they're on
annoying
the
things.
floor above. So again, reminder, they are up 10 feet. I've moved them here for the ease of navigating a battle in this scenario. So they are actually. You see the? Can you see the dotted line? Please tell me you can see the dotted lines.
I can see the dotted line, but the barrels are like causing such giant shadows that I
Yeah.
can really only see like the line.
One
that
of the
we're on.
downsides that I never really experience of dynamic lighting is that, yeah, effectively, but the barrels are big. Like, they are 10, 12 feet tall. They do obscure people up there, so it's semi-appropriate. I'll just move them there, even though they're not there, so you can see them. You can see them now?
Okay.
Cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
but also now we're not a group, so now they can just pick us off one at a time.
Your decision, not theirs. Rhea,
I mean, you're not a group.
Yeah.
We are.
this is also true.
Yeah, I am separate and alone, and that was a dumb decision, but I made it.
Can I ask, in this room, is it like a balcony level above us?
Yes, that's what
yeah.
it's effectively like above you, around the side, and on as Zadie has seen on the western side as well. We've got a balcony about 15 feet up, 10, 15 feet up.
Right. Okay. I'm going to dart over this way. Hell. Oh, and this guy over, that I can just see over here is
It's actually there.
there.
So
God damn.
you
Okay,
get like a faint glimpse of someone up on the balcony level. You can just about see them, but they are like behind, say, 3/4 cover from where you stand right now.
Okay. Seeing what happened to these guys trapped on the ground, I will hug the wall and cast levitate on myself.
Okay, so as
And
you
go floating up.
you lift up 20 or so feet and get a visual of the one who stands there. Again, it's impossible to sort of give you the visual of levitate, but we will, for the sake of you being able to levitate, we'll give you an icon. We'll give you that. Why not? That's a windy icon. As you lift up, thanks to your Genasi heritage, you see one of these druids on the far west side. Again, I'll move you over here so you can see them. I'll move you back, but so you can see where they are. Over on the western side, and they are again up the floor. Again, I'm just not moving you guys onto that map.
Yep.
There is, however, you also see another one, which is sort of like kind of crouched, lying prone or against the back wall in this location. Can you see them? Here.
Yes, I see it
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you see them, but for everyone else, they are kind of just out of line of sight. They've sort of slumped to the ground, pretty badly injured. And as you float up, you're also concentrating on that. So we'll mark you at the concentration.
So wacky.
There you go.
Okay. I can't do anything else really. I'll just point in their their direction and shout, "Right there!" and the others down below, and that's my turn.
Okay. Yeah, you just point out in the direction. You guys will see this. Reyes, having floated up, is pointing over to the western corner. That's your turn, Raine. What you're saying? The vines snap away from you, and you're able to move again. You don't have a visual on any of them.
Oh, I don't have a visual on anyone. This is jarring. I'll try.
Y'all got leaves in your face, right?
Take my crown of thorns off. I want to go. You know, a ramp from before. It does go up to a second floor, doesn't it?
The ramp from before does, and so does there's a stairway in the center of this room that leads up.
Okay.
To the balcony
I feel
level.
that is just probably insane. So I'm gonna stop doing that, and I'm gonna move here.
Okay, you're moving that way. So
I've got a visual of someone over here.
you do
Can
that.
I see them or are they...
They are up. They are up. They have at least half cover from where you stand.
Okay, so can see them at least.
Yeah, where were you in terms of movement? Because you are trying to squeeze past your allies as well. It's a bit difficult.
I was next to Trundle.
So it's like 5, 15, 20, 25, 30. You can't quite make it there. You can make it sort of here. I don't know if that's put you inside the barrel.
I put it inside the barrel, so I can't see anything.
That's amazing. How about now? You good?
I can see the green one instead.
Yeah. Well, effectively, you can't see them. Only Rhea can see them because they're lying down.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're aware that they are
can
over
I technically can I still technically shoot the blue one, or is the barrel like? In my face?
If you're back there, I'll say if you're back there, you can see them. They have 3/4 cover against you.
Okay, 3/4 cover. Fair enough.
Yep.
Let's try and bang one out. I'm guaranteed this one's gonna be terrible.
Phrasing.
Oh, 21.
21 still hits. I mean, you do have an insane plus to hit.
I do have an insane plus to hit.
So they, as you take the shot, blasting through with the glowing sort of sunburst mace to guide your line of sight. You take a shot and through the gap, just are able to slam into their shoulder, and you see them stagger back out of view. And sort of, but you see their shoulder occasionally reappear as they're sort of swaying and staggered. That's your turn.
That's my turn. I'm all good.
Okay. It is now their turn. They're not your biggest fans. So what they're going to do is move back over here so they get a better line of sight of you. They're not major combatants, I'll be honest. It's kind of their thing. It's like they do lots of other shit and they just don't do the combatant stuff. So they're going to hurl another produce flame. This one hasn't actually attacked as such more than the entangle that they cast. So they're going to throw a produce flame again at you, Raine. That's a 19 to hit, but I rolled it to myself.
Rolled to yourself.
Yeah, it's a 19 to hit.
No, that one. I'm just fucking with you.
Well, it's on stream, so evidence is there. 19 with 7 damage as it
7 points of damage.
Yeah, sends the fireball kind of just like produce flame fireball in your direction. Curves out of its hand and manages to catch you again, sort of in the chest. Zadie is able to, although it doesn't give off any light, you do see the presence almost of the energy from the fireball, and it shoots past you and slams into Raine. This individual then darts back through the door they came through, kind of staggered, and they disappear from view for you guys as they make their way off in the distance. Trundle, you hear the scratching sound in this area grow louder.
In this area being the one where, like, upper floor?
The area in your close proximity. You hear this sound of just scratching and I don't know quite how to describe it more than lots of scratching.
Is this a door?
Yes, that is a double door. There's kind of still some wilted vines around it, not like binding it shut or anything. But yeah, that is a door.
Right. Well, in that case, I'll guess. I'll use my keen sense of educated guessing that something is through that door, and I'll try and get through it. Okay.
So you go over and you grab the handles of the doors and throw them open. They open. I suppose they'd open away. They'd open towards you, away from the inside. And let me just remove the dynamic lighting. As the door swings open, you see into a room that is chock full of barrels. There's effectively just barrels. A door to the eastern side of the room, and as you step in, you also notice a staircase to your immediate left that sort of just curves up. It's quite a tight staircase.
Upwards, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I'll go up the stairs.
You go up the stairs. Okay. So it was...
If that's possible.
Yeah,
I don't... with all this map stuff.
5, 10, 15, 20... Okay, yeah, you can make it to the top of the stairs, interestingly enough. And... yeah, why not? Which puts you... over here. Sorry, you're all going to get dragged over, but I'm going to ping it for his sake. As you make your way...
I can only see myself.
Is it really? Oh, is it?
Just a square, which is just me.
That's how it should be, right?
I can't see. Okay, no, I can see stuff now. It disappeared for a minute.
Yeah. I
I
moved
see.
him. This is interesting.
Nothing.
Bear with me. I'll put you there.
Mildly terrified.
I'm fucking kind. Yeah, you should be able to see there that you've stepped out. Sort of, you're at the top of a stone staircase that has there's a hallway with several doors leading off of it. Is that fair? Like you're just at the top of the stairs. There.
I'm in a hallway. Okay.
Yeah. And you still actually have an action if you'd like. You've used your free action to open the door, and you've moved all the way in, but you still have an action as your werewolf form sort of drives.
How far
into
can I get down this corridor?
If you dash?
A couple of squares.
Why
Why not? I mean, there's nothing up there. So
I mean,
just gonna...
there's 3 doors on the right. If you dash, you can't really technically open them. But if you just go down the corridor, you can make it all the way to the end of the corridor that you can see.
Yeah, I'll go to the end of the corridor. I mean, I can't see anything. It's just a corridor. I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, you don't. Correct, but you're bundling up down the corridor. Cool. And yeah, and as you make it down the corridor.
Oh no.
Oh, Lordy.
Okay.
So am I with our friend, with Rhea? Is that where I am?
That's not rare.
That's what I can see.
That's not rare. Cool.
Oh no.
Yeah, as you make it up, you
Things with wings
yeah.
ain't rare.
Yeah, no. So as you make it up, you see the form of like one of the as you like barrel down the corridor. You see one of the bloodied druids that sort of backed off here, sort of staggering back into this room with the door still open. As they see you run around, they go to say something to you, and then they realize that you're not who they expected, and they're like, get them! And you see behind them these bundles of vines that start to twist and wreath towards you. Okay.
Shit.
Yep. This is super interesting. Okay.
Note to self: run up random stairs.
Okay. Rhea, this gets really weird. Okay.
Well,
Okay. Rhea, you hear again the sound of scratching grow louder as a couple of things start to sort of twist and make their way out of this one of the casks near you. The cask at this end of the room. Yep.
I can't see anything.
Can't see anything. Just
Oh no, there
scroll
I am.
down.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was on the
I had to ping where Trundle was for Elliot's sake, but you guys just moved up to see that. Different layers, yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
So as you see sort of pulling themselves out of this barrel are a couple of these small bundled creatures, maybe 2 feet tall. Let me move that. Let me delete that, in fact. And they seem to just be writhing out, and you can see that there are plenty more of them trying to spill out of here. One of them goes for Irina, and one of them bundles its way towards you. Again, they're only about 2 feet tall, but they are coming at you. So
Isn't Ray flying though? Isn't
Ray
she?
is flying.
Yeah.
So in fact, Guzza, you are down here.
Sorry, I made that.
No, it's a really,
but I made it worse.
it's a really good point. So, Guzza, this one's going to go after you. Why do you have the sleepy? Why do you have the sleepy icon, the unconscious icon?
That is for concentration.
Okay, cool. We'll use that one because that one I usually use for unconscious. So it's like, why are you dead? What happened? I don't remember that bit. This one's going to claw at you for 16. I don't think that's going to hit.
It is.
Oh, 16 is
Yep.
your AC. Okay, so it claws you for 4 piercing damages. This thing sort of crawls out of the cask nearby and starts to launch itself at you. The one at Irina is a 6, so she's able to avoid that one. As she, in her fairly wounded state, is desperately fighting her way away. Okay.
Everyone's lost bless.
Sorry.
Oh no, we've all lost blessed.
Yeah, you have.
Oh god.
As the concentration drops. Yeah, thank you for the honesty and the reminder, because I would have totally just forgotten that. So yeah, well, as you get impacted again, you just unexpectedly see this thing scramble its way out and lunge at you. And although it looks to be nothing more than a bundle of twigs, the claws sink through your chainmail, sort of able to pierce through the holes, and sort of cause you to just take a sort of a gasp, which ends up snapping your concentration. Okay. Damn, that's brutal, man. So let me just need to get it so it's actually appearing on the initiative where it should be. There we go. Okay. So it's now that one's turn. Okay, so the other druid is gonna get up from prone, and in their position they're gonna 5, 10, 15 move their way over around there. So they have line of sight of you, Zadie, and as they do, again, this is the one that's already been shot, and is not looking too great. They are going to... No, in fact, they're going to dash. This person's beaten up to shit, so they've got up from prone, moved the remainder of their movement, and then they're also going to... This is really dumb. They're going to go through the doorway, not knowing Trundle's there, run straight into Trundle and be like, oh shit. And they're just going to like...
Oh my god, we accidentally surrounded them, guys.
Yeah. And...
Amazing tactics.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know you're there, and they open the door, they go through, and fuck, there's Trundle. So they're gonna... They're gonna...
Is that Rhea also?
No!
You don't know, you're too busy wolf now.
Yeah, but they dash to get there, so this is really weird circumstance, but that's their turn. They're going to shut the door, so they're no longer visible to you guys. But they're like, oh fuck. And trying to...
Just hear an awkward howl, like, huh?
The other druid, which you guys also can't see, is going to... Let's do distances. 5, 10... Okay, yeah, they're definitely getting in here. So 5... Dynamic grab, please. Thank you. 5, 10... Okay, yeah, they're going to step through there, and again, for ease of purpose, they are not next to you, Guzza. They are directly above, or almost directly above where you are. But for the visualization of seeing them, rather than not seeing them, they're on the same line of sight as you, Rare, as you float up 20 feet into the air close to the roof of this place. The one that you've already shot staggers through the doorway there, and seeing you in the air just goes, ha ha! And we'll throw a... let me just have a quick check on something. No, okay. Nothing.
Nothing?
No, don't worry.
Not like that?
Shh. You don't know anything. They are going to, just point in your direction, and I think they're just going to throw a... Because Thunderwave ain't going to reach you. So they're going to produce flame at you. They're going to throw a flame, and just hurling that at you. I can't see what that rolled. The 7. Damn, that's pretty bad. Yeah, in their manic state, they just send it flying, and it just curls through the room lazily, just burning up before it even hits anything. And they're going to step back through the doorway that they were at. So they are upstairs again. I actually realised I need to roll... I meant to roll for the other people as well, because they were supposed to go on the initiative of... In fact, they go on the initiative of that druid. Okay, so it's now Arena's turn. Arena, slashing at the thing near her, is just going to cut with the rapier. And that's a 6. I think that's enough. Yeah, she just slices through this thing near her, and it just bursts. Again, the tension that was holding it together in its sort of bundled stick form just pops, and it just sprays and explodes everywhere. She's then going to sort of step back, in her wounded state, and just make it back through the doorway there. But you hear Guzza, you hear her footsteps as and you kind of just get a line of sight of her as she starts to go up the ramp to the south. It's like heading upstairs. Let's be 5, 10, 20. Okay, she's about there. Okay, and Guzza, you're up. I think we're gonna call it after this for partway through the combat, as I seem to love to do, is to leave you guys partway through combat.
Sure. I'm going to roll Lay on Hands, but I've sort of tried to not make it too metagamey, so I'm just going to roll because I have 20. I'm going to roll, and because I need 20 to be full health, I'm just going to roll a d20 and see what happens.
Well, I think I you're not going to burn 1 point of Lay on Hands. Say, give yourself a bounded accuracy, shall we say. If you were going to heal somewhere between 10 and 20, then roll a d10 and then take that as 11 to 20 or something like that. I think that's fairer. Well, I mean, you do what you
Yeah, I
you
think
do
so.
what you want to do. I just think it would be kind of unfair for you to say completely rely on the roll of the dice, and if you get a 1 or a 2, you're like, my action is to heal 1 hit point. You know.
The idea is that it will change as I become more accustomed to it
Okay.
as I level up.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's up to you. It's
we'll
up to you.
see.
You treat it however you want to treat it.
I mean, prepare for like backtrack C when I roll a 1 in about 3 seconds time.
Maybe do a
But
5,
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, if you
5 in the face, and then.
no, we'll see. Let's enjoy it. Let's
14.
enjoy rolling dice.
And
God
you roll
forbid.
the
Medium
20.
14.
There you go.
Hey.
that's a pretty good area to be in because you get to keep some for sensibility.
Wow, you undid the thunder wave completely.
Yeah, actually, yeah, really good point. And double your health. So yeah, you place your hand on yourself and just reinstill yourself with that energy. The pinpricks still remain from this creature, but it stands there, sort of twisting its head slightly, and you just hear the groan and the creak of the twigs that it makes up. That's your action. Are you moving at all?
Nope.
Anything else? Okay. And like I said, although I don't like to leave us midway through combat, as it's past 11 and this could go on for a little while yet, we will call it there because we've don't want to run too late, even though we had the late start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was impressed that the music ended at that time, but it
Yeah.
just started again.
Yeah. Why is it? It's weird. It's just looping this. It's just looping Silver for Monsters. I don't know.
Oh, had you had a playlist in mind?
I had a playlist on, but
Oh,
Silver
okay.
for Monsters had a loop, so when it hit Silver for Monsters, it's stuck on Silver for Monsters. It's okay. I'm fine with that. I'm totally
Oh, I
fine
love
with
the
that.
song.
Oh, it's a beautiful song. That's why I kind of just didn't mind. But we'll put on the Death playlist. No, it's just a beautiful ambient playlist, to be honest. So yeah, good job, guys. Good luck.
Hollow Knight.
Oh yeah. Good luck with dealing with these guys next session. Yeah, that was I wasn't sure quite how that was all going to pan out, but you guys seem to have made that an interesting setup.
Accidentally
and-
surrounded them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it kind of became this funnel through and end up fighting, which I mean, I guess was hard to avoid when there's a druid kind of up in that area above where the cart is, and heard the first of you come through. Was like, what's going on? And then found the tail end of you and sort of funneled you through. So yeah, we'll see how that goes next session. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
No, thank you, dude. Thank you.
Thank
That was
you.
good fun.
I always enjoy it. So you never need to thank me for.
Trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We're not dead yet.
A barrel
Just-
of
well,
arms.
these characters are not dead yet. But let's move.
Just in case, I have another character sheet, so it's fine.
Yeah, fantastic. But
I
Keeping
do
them at
have
the
my
ready.
I have my next character all lined up.
Oh yeah, I have mine right on my desktop.
that makes me feel. I don't know how that makes me feel. Like
So much
evil,
pessimism.
evil, or like that I've done my job well. I don't know. But yeah, also send me votes for hero points, and
Oh
we'll
god, this one's tricky.
and obviously there's a couple of people I need to thank in terms of donating a lot of money. Yeah, no, I mean, Kat, thank you sincerely for the fulfilling the goal. I will order that tonight. Elliot, you need to give me your address details for because I think you're
Shall do,
I think
shall
you're
do.
in London at the moment, right? Oh, sorry, you're at your dad's.
Yeah, I
at the
am.
moment, so
Yeah.
so I'll get that sent to him directly, so you'll be able to hear Elliot super crisply and cleanly. And then I think we're nearly done at that point, like in terms of setup, because of all the cameras we picked up. That kind of we get all the pretty faces in super hood.
Now we just all need ring lights so that we can look like extra pretty.
Well, I mean, get these kind of things with fucking umbrellas and shit. Yeah. I mean, fuck. Okay, I've
Do
just
that.
blinded myself with it. Oh my god, I'm now just like permanently in a line of fire. So yeah, thank you sincerely, Kat. It really means a lot that you've really supported us in a lot of ways to help get a lot of these things. So that's incredible. Thank you. I also need to thank Freddie for 9 months of a tier 3 sub, which is effectively the top level sub.
27 months.
$25 a month to support the channel. So
Yikes! That's mad.
It's crazy.
dude.
He's Freddy's nuts.
Thank you.
Freddy's also donated like
Thank you for being here.
$500 in bits. He's crazy. So thank you, Freddy. And Old Bag of Bones for the follow as well. Thank you. I love the
Welcome.
name.
Welcome.
Oh, bag of
But yeah, I think we're gonna go chill now. I've been craving. I just craved D&D all week, and I've been super busy. So coming back to this and just getting to have fun is always the best. Also, Brew, thank you for being here as always, dude. Hopefully you can see the new mod icon that's finally come through that I've got. It's just like a fist. I think it's the monk icon from D&D, but I repurposed it for the purposes of a mod icon. So yeah, thank you guys. We will see you next Tuesday. All of us.
Yeah.
I'm here. Absolutely.
One person who's not saying anything is like possible. We'll see. But we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. But in the meantime, we'll see you next Tuesday. I will see you on Thursday. And until then, peace out, guys.
Peace out.
Peace and love.
Bye. Oh, man.